What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the Commentary Position Podcast. This is episode number 9. The last episode, I got that wrong. That was 8. This is number 9. Hope everybody had a great afternoon, morning. This is the last midday Raw for a while. Um, Not to say I'm sad, but I'm also not mad about it either because watching Raw at 3 in the afternoon does feel weird.
Yeah, especially when you have other things to do. But
Definitely, yeah, more definitely. As always, my name is PTP, Percy, whichever you prefer, and with me we have Gino's game. How we doing?
good, man. It was a good afternoon and a very, very, I would say, very, very good Raw. I'm surprisingly happy about the show.
Yeah, but say the Graps was grapping this week. Uh, it was. I go out like honestly, this was one of the more. Hold on, let me see. Ooh, my stuff just bugged out. But yeah, it was a lot of it's very consistent. A lot of memorable moments, I would say, from this week as well. That can't wait to get into.
Yep,
Starting
top to
off,
bottom,
yep,
top to bottom, good, well done. Hit the points, hit the beats. No real fluff. You know what I mean? Nothing. I suppose. I mean, if you want to call the Alpha Academy thing or like Maxine and Natalia maybe being a team or something. I mean, if that's the worst thing you got on your show, that's still a pretty good show.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt about that. But yeah, let's jump right into it. John Cena, of course, usually when he's on the show, he's opening the card, but this week, no 5 minute interlude. We get Cody right off the rip
Yep.
for the
I
interaction. Yeah,
I I'm sure I'm not the only one with the opinion that like why are they not bringing up the the Rock and why he sold his soul? Why is he not talking about it? Cody mentioned it, but why is John not saying why he sold his soul to the Rock? He's doing everything else correct in, in
yeah.
how he's presenting himself, how he's running down the crowd, how he's talking, how he's angry, how even during this he's talking about how he's like the only real champion and Cody's like bringing up like Cody riding with him and his chauffeur and you know he's gonna bury him and all this stuff. I mean, everything was well said. Everything was well done. Cody, let's fat let. I'm sure it was done that way on purpose. But like Cody kept up with him when normally Cena, as you would expect, just in a verbal altercation with somebody on the mic, Cena's going to cook him somehow, some way. He's going to cook him.
Right.
Not today. Cody cooked him.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. From what I was hearing,
Decisive.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Cena's probably was obviously. I mean, everybody expected it. Even Cody kind of said it, like, "Oh, like what's the word, John? Like, I hear people talking. They say you're gonna cook me." And in a way, what John did was probably, like I said, it was a lot more than a cooking. I would say because if anything, he hit him a lot harder than probably anybody probably expected him to. Especially with
Oh, no
like
doubt.
especially with how you like built it up as far as Cody saying, "Oh, we used to drive around and everything." John's like, "Oh, they gave the keys to the company to my chauffeur." He at least for like if I had to like pick who won the promo battle, the war of words, I would say I give the slight edge to Cena in this
I
one.
I would say Cody did, and purposefully to give Cody the one up and the edge on Cena in the sense that we all know Cena cooks people, and he cooked. I'm not saying he didn't, but I think it was designed on purpose for Cody to have the edge, not just because he gave him the crossroads, because Cena finally took a shot at him and got dropped. So Cody has the momentum, as probably should, but Cody got his licks in, and worst, at worst, you could argue a tie, but I think Cody got him by just a little bit, which is exactly how it should be. Cody needs to do that as the champion, as the guy, to build this up to whatever it's going to be. Cody needs to be on par or even a step up, and I think this Cody had just a step up. I'm not saying he destroyed him. Don't get me wrong. He did not destroy him. He did not cut his balls off. But
Good Lord.
I think, well, you know what I mean. I mean, metaphorically speaking, as far as the promo work.
Yeah.
But he didn't verbally.
He didn't massacre him.
Promo wise, right? He didn't promo wise. He didn't castrate him, but I think he one upped him.
Yeah.
Because he's you can make fun of me for the Stardust. You can make fun of me for having a whatever he said, like a arm tattoo or whatever it is on my neck, whatever it is. But he gave it to him. He Cody himself mentioned selling his soul. When Cena left the ring and then was going to come back, Cena said, Cody said, what the hell did he say? Oh, they've never chanted. The crowd's never chanted me. You can't wrestle. He threw all that at him, and he said, and I loved the line. It was a little corny, but I loved it. There's more. He literally said, "There's more dick in your promo than what's in your jorts." That was I literally audibly watching the show said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I could say they definitely upped the ante, and I feel like that's the main thing really people were missing from this feud. And we even talked about this, a verbal interaction, like a full blown altercation between the two, and then at bare minimum, I'm not gonna make it sound too crazy because I mean, already hearing people say that they were clamoring for it kind of was kind of crazy. But some type of altercation where it's okay, one gets froggy, he leaps, somebody stands tall for that week. This week it was Cody. As far as Cena
Right.
getting baited back in, saying oh, Cody said, oh, the one thing you can never say they chanted at me was that I couldn't wrestle, and then he ended up beating a Crossroads this week. I feel they're starting to kind of redeem the feud or redeem the story to me. It's still kind of hard to say whether The Rock even really fits in this equation because I haven't told you that. I'm if at that point I'm starting to think that he's, metaphorically speaking, he's more the bullet or the trigger rather than the person that's taking the shot, if that makes any sense.
Well, that's a fair point, but you can't just gloss over the fact that Cena sold his soul to The Rock to get here, and then he's just going to do it by himself. That the believability factor isn't there. Just because Cena is vicious and angry as a heel and wants to take the title with him, and he's the real champion, and everybody's a pretender, and everybody's a fake, and everybody's done him dirty, all this stuff. There's truth to all of that to a certain extent. I'm not denying that part, but you can't set this up to be just a straight up one-on-one match when Cena, the only thing Cena hurt and then aligned himself with The Rock. You got to give us more to make us believe he's going to beat Cody and make it seem like he's going to do it by himself. Because realistically, if they're going to straight up go, Cena at this age isn't beating Cody straight up. But give us more of a reason to believe that he can beat Cody on his own. And they're doing their best, but you're leaving out the most important part of this, and which is why he did it, which is he sold his soul to The Rock. He's The Rock's guy. Why is he The Rock's guy? Why did he have to do that, align himself with The Rock to get here when he could have gotten here just out of pure anger and resentment, because that's how he's portrayed himself in his promos. He's just angry and resentful, and he's over it. He's sick of it. That stuff all works. I'm not denying that. That all works totally fine, and all makes sense. It's all believable. But the Rock part, you can't just glance over and gloss over the fact that.
Oh snap!
Rock, but
yeah,
and he's The Rock's guy, and then it just sits there in the ether. Why is he The Rock's guy? Why did he choose that? Why did The Rock choose him? Is there a bigger plan in place? I mean, I presumably there probably is, but somebody's got to say something about it. You can't just gloss over it until WrestleMania and then The Rock comes out with him or comes out at some point during the match, and it's like that's going to be enough to fill in the blanks. No, somebody's got to mention it. Cody mentioning that he sold his soul to The Rock, and others have mentioned that he did it. All it is just sort of like dragging it and keeping it fresh in people's minds that he sold his soul to The Rock, but there's no explanation as to why he sold his soul to The Rock and why The Rock picked him to do it. Somebody's got to say something. Cena hasn't. He hasn't mentioned it at all. Unless he appears another time before WrestleMania, which we don't know. Maybe. You got 2 Raws and 3 SmackDowns before Mania, so he could. We just don't know yet. Or, The Rock shows up before Mania and he says it, and if he does it the right way, and I don't doubt that he can, because it's The Rock, especially in final boss mode, then he can say why. And then, okay, then we're probably set up for what's likely to be shenanigans during the match, because straight up, it fits now that he's a heel, but it doesn't fit in the sense that, because Cena's a heel now and he's angry and bitter, he can beat Cody straight up. And I hate to bring up his age, but at his age and the fact that he hasn't won much of anything other than the Elimination Chamber in 8 years, he's going to beat Cody. Like Cody, the new Superman of the company, who took down Roman Reigns of all people. Cena's just going to be able to take him straight up. I'm sure everybody's enjoying. I'm not saying everybody's not enjoying what's going on and the promos, because even this crowd was, let's go Cena. Cena sucks again. So I think they're starting to kind of I think the crowds are actually starting to kind of like this version of Cena, which is not unexpected and could help ease the turn back when it happens. But Cena Cody straight up, nothing tells me Cena's going to win straight up. There's got to be, I'm assuming it's going to be something besides a straight up match, and there's time, but they're running out of time to explain it. And they need to. That has to be explained. They can't just do that and then gloss over it until like the night of, and then here's The Rock, and here's Travis Scott, and here's whoever possibly helping Cena do it. Like you got to give a little more context to why he did it and why Rock picked him. That's what I'm saying. They haven't done it.
Wait. Well, two things real quick. For anybody that watches this part of the VOD back, I'm not gonna lie. There's like two recordings on my screen. I don't know which is which. So it like ended and then it like restarted. I can splice them together. It doesn't really matter at this point. But secondly, I will say that if anything, when it comes down to it, I mean, I feel like if we're being like completely honest here, I feel like John Cena being chosen might not really be like the thing that I mean, 'cause obviously, I mean, John Cena is a 16-time world champion. Him and The Rock did battle. We all know why The Rock wanted somebody of that magnitude, which is why he wanted Cody in the first place. He wants somebody that, granted, I mean, Cody's not a multi-time world champion, but somebody of that magnitude to be in his corner at all times. But also the fact of they have the press conference to worry about. They have what, 2 weeks left minimum,
Well, they just said they
or
have.
like a week. Like I mean, like I feel like they have they're gonna have opportunities to, I guess, kind of give the why. But also, I mean, I guess Cena kind of did give the why in the promo too, as far as it was probably more about Cody than it is about The Rock.
But The Rock wanted Cody, and then it was Cena. But why? Besides their history and whatever it is, why would The Rock as a character, as on being on the board of directors after so much time away and not winning anything, why does he think Cena's the one that can get it done when there's nothing to prove that he can get it done other than their history, and that in real life they're friends? There's got to be more. I'm not saying they can't do it. There's time. There's the press conference. There's
Yeah,
press conferences after shows.
but also think of too is like in some cases, like especially with like guys like The Rock or like even a Cena for that matter, a lot of their stuff is very like surface level, like basic one-on-one type things where like there have been multiple times, probably even with The Rock, for example, where he turned heel back in the day, and he never gave any explanation directly as to why he did what he did. It's just, oh, I'm The Rock, and I can do what I want to do. They're from a time where they're not gonna like unpeel layers like a Roman or a Seth or even a Drew for that matter. They're not gonna peel back all the layers to be like, oh well, January 25th, 2021 they turned their back on, like they're not gonna do all that, I think. And I feel like when Cena kind of said like, "Oh well, you with that title makes me sick. That's why I did what I did." From their era specifically, that would be enough for people. But now it's kind of like, "Oh well, this can't be enough from the general public."
Right. I mean, yes, the current audience, it's not enough. At the time, it would have been more than enough.
Right.
And Cena saying, well, screw the fans and all this, and him aligning himself with The Rock to sort of help guarantee that he gets it done can make sense as a general principle. And the little subtle hints towards that, like with this promo, like it makes me sick or whatever it is. Okay, that kind of fits. That kind of makes sense. But there needs to be a broader explanation as to why. Even if Cena said, realize that The Rock was the way to go. Okay, fine. But one of the two has to explain how they decided to team up. And that Cena was The Rock's guy and the pick because clearly he wanted Cody, but he had to have known deep down Cody wasn't going to say yes.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that's like the underlying thing where The Rock probably always had a backup plan because everybody knows, like even you said earlier, if Cody Rhodes is supposed to be this new age Captain America, I forgot what's that character from the show that I forgot what. It's like another character that they use as a reference point. Homelander, yeah, Homelander. He's
Homelander.
Yeah, he's Homelander esque. Rock knew, okay, Cody not doing this shit. So if I know Cody's not doing it, I already got something in the back burner where it's like, all right, bet. John Cena been tired of bro. He ain't showed the world yet, but John Cena's been tired of Cody Rhodes being champion.
I mean,
So
and
now,
that's fine.
yeah, so
That's
that's why
fine.
they
But
pulled the trigger on that.
that's fine. But the way the current audience is, somebody's got to tell them.
So is it more or less from like just so the viewers don't feel left out type of thing, or just for like a transparency type of thing?
But I mean, both. Like to also further explain why this is the way it is, and to further set up the intrigue of the match and the stakes of the match and the possibility of it not being a straight up match, because I don't think it will be. Then okay, if Cena's not going to go into detail as to why, you know, he went to The Rock and said, "I'll do it. I'm tired of this, whatever it is," and that would be a perfectly great, perfectly fine explanation. If he had said, he could have done it in 30 seconds and said, Dwayne and I have been friends ever since we feuded, however long ago it was, 13, 14 years ago, I think was the second match or something like that. Yeah, around there,
Yeah,
like
I'm not sure.
13 years.
I know it was like
I think,
2014 was the first match, right? 2014.
but and Cena has said himself that they were actually not friends, not friendly, and Cena admitted himself that he didn't see things the right way, and you know he went to The Rock like a man. They talked, he apologized, and they became friends, and they're friends now. Cena could have given like a nice 30 seconds and said, Dwayne and I had a feud. We didn't like each other. We talked it out. We became friends. We've been friends ever since. And I went to him and said, I want 17. He is not it. We need something different. We need something new. We need something better than this, because this is not how WWE should be. He is not the right guy for the job. He is not the champion that the company needs. It may not be for long, but I'll do it. I'll help you. Something like that. But then The Rock could come out, and I hope he does, and I think he will. I think Rock is going, because he needs to. Somebody needs to say something about why this, how this team came to be, and why either Cena was the backup plan or Cena came to him and they constructed this whole thing. Why he's The Rock's champion, why he's going to win the title, maybe, hopefully, probably, why he's going to do it. Yada
Yeah, but
yada.
yeah,
Whatever.
but I
Somebody
mean,
has to.
yeah, yeah. I mean, with like all these things, it's like that's why I went like when we talked about it, the last episode. If you had Carmelo Hayes in this spot, best believe you get an explanation. You have Austin Theory in this spot, most definitely, 100%, you'll get this explanation. Hell, maybe Drew McIntyre. You put him in that spot, you get an explanation as far as like long term. Like even the Cody Rhodes thing, they said him and The Rock met during like the Moana screening or something, and they had a promo filmed that nobody ever got a chance to see because they scrapped it midway through. Stuff like that, at least from a guy cut like Cena's cloth, they just they're just gonna do it. They're just gonna turn the guy, and the guy's just gonna be mad for however long they want that guy to be fed up with the world. It's like at that point, and then plus like it could be one of the things where they try to like take the jab at the IWC because respectfully, in some situations, a lot of us act like we know what's going on or like we can kind of like know what they're doing at all times. So when they make turns and then they don't give an explanation, there's some people that will panic and be like, "Oh, well, give us more insight," and then they're probably like, sitting there like laughing and shit, like, "Ah, I thought they knew what was going on. I thought they knew what we wanted to do. Now you want us to
That's
give you a debriefing." It could be one of
that
those things too, like,
it's
cause
that's fair. It's a different era, and like I said, I'm not trying to say that they won't explain this. It won't get flushed out. it won't make sense by the time Mania rolls around. I'm not saying that. I believe it will, because you know Rock did the right thing last year and made it phenomenal, and he said it on NXT. I've been a little drunk, but he said on NXT, kind of just sit there and shut your mouth and enjoy the ride the Rock's can take you on. So I don't doubt
Yeah.
that there's more. There's more to this. It's just
Yeah. But,
the
but, but,
clock
but
is
plus I
run. The clock is running out,
but
and
plus I will say though too, as far as Cena, as far as like remember when he said like, oh, I had like all this stuff planned out, I'm in like new gear, new everything, right? I don't know if I've seen
mm,
like a full video yet, or if someone's like fully like deep dived into this yet. Cena has done the complete opposite of everything he had initially stated in the past, where it's like, okay, I'm not giving new gear. There's no new music. There's no reinvention, no anything. It's just I'm doing the opposite of what everybody wants out of this story, out of me, out of this company. I'm doing the complete opposite of everything. So, which is why it took him dang near 3 weeks to have contact with Cody since the chamber, at least in this timeline, because obviously, I mean, there was downtime in between that Cena was not there at all. But it took 3 weeks for them to just even have an interaction of Cena eating a move, because he was baiting, like, you know what, you want us to fight? Nah, you ain't getting this shit. Like, I feel like at that point,
oh
that's
no,
where I feel like that's like their mental intrigue play, as far as
that's and it's
they
all been great. It's all
yeah
been great, and it's all made sense. But there's been you gotta have there's that little you gotta give a little something, even if you don't give it a full detailed explanation until maybe WrestleMania comes around and God knows what happens and all kinds of shenanigans happens and Cena wins, and then after that you get this full explanation with them together as to why how this all came to be. I'm okay with that, but
right.
given the current audience, obviously, yeah, I know how some of the people in the IWC are about this, like gimme, 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 but just on the general audience and to add to the intrigue of this, give them something about why it happened. You don't have to give like a detailed 400-page rundown of why this a 40-minute promo of how this
Right.
came to be and all these details, but give them something. Give a carrot.
Give
Somebody
him a
say,
carrot.
yeah, give them dangle the carrot. Give them no sus shit, but dangle the carrot. Like whether it's Cena or The
Type
Rock,
shit.
somebody say something about
Yeah.
why this happened this way. Something, because they've given nothing. I'm just saying, give something as to why this happened, and you don't have to spoil anything about how the match is going to go down, whether the match is going to be straight up or not, whether there's going to be some shenanigans or whatever. You don't have to say any of that, but give just some little tidbit of information about why or how this happened. Something, because they haven't. They're leaving it out there, and to some, it's intriguing. I admit, I see your point. To some, it's intriguing because they're not telling and they're not bringing it up. But I think a larger portion of the fan base, not including the IWC, but a larger portion of the fan base is feels the same way.
I mean,
If
but
you
I
want to
mean,
look at
yeah,
it
but I mean,
kayfabe ways, they want to
yeah,
know why.
but I mean, even outside of like the I guess the mystery of it to some people, I feel like more or less for me, I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of like putting myself in a different, like, not some Vince Russo type shit, but like I'm putting myself in a situation where it's like I've been looking at it from like at least how
I was
they.
gonna say, don't go there. I was gonna say, don't go
Yeah,
Vince Russo on this,
yeah.
please.
I'm not gonna go there now. But it's just like from looking at how it's been presented, or just like listening to his promos on a week to week basis. It's like one of the things where I feel like even like in the past, even during Cena's like first original like stint of him being like I guess like on the bad side of things,
Mm-hmm.
bro, he had alliances, but they were never really like, oh, I'm gonna stick with him and we have loyalty type thing. Cena was just like essentially Cena's always using someone. Now, essentially that could be a case with The Rock, where it's like, I mean, The Rock has stroke now. That's the easiest way for me to get what I want. Like you said in the past, like, well, in real life, him and Dwayne are friends. That's the easiest way to get to where I want. And then I'm just gonna shit on Cody once I'm there. I'm locked in. Dwayne can come out if he want to, but this is about me right now. So it's like maybe that's kind of how I'm seeing it, where
I get it. I
yeah,
get that.
like
I
where like
get.
maybe like the explanation would be good, but at the same time, I'm like, if he's just coming out here cooking them, he's shitting on kids, he's throwing hats on the ground. I don't think he's done that yet, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if he's doing all that, and it's like the build up to eventually a bunch of random people helping him at Mania, I'll take it.
I mean, I do see your point, and if they had done this even slightly different, this would be you wouldn't necessarily have you'd have different questions. Like for example, if The Rock had come out after uh Cena won the Elimination Chamber and asked Cody, and Cody said, "Go fuck yourself," right? And then Rock is just doesn't say anything. He doesn't attack him. He doesn't do anything, and he gets out of the ring. And then Cena hugs him and nut kicks him and turns. So it just seems like Cena's just said, "Ah, fuck it. I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm just gonna make a snap decision and do it." Then you have this how this is played out plays out even better because it's then the question is, well, did he was this planned? Was this done with The Rock? Because The Rock wasn't standing there when he did it? Are they aligned or is he just doing this by himself? That fits your narrative way more perfectly than what they're doing. All I'm saying is you could be, I see your point. You could be completely right. And I'm not saying this is bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying between now and then, or really before now, somebody should have given us a little bit of a nugget, at least, as to how this happened or why this happened. You really can't wait till the night of to explain why and how, because it really wouldn't be logically storyline wise. It wouldn't make sense for this match to happen because Cena's not going to be can't beat him clean. It's not believable. Really, I mean, let's look at it in a vacuum. It's not believable, even with this new persona that he's got, and the anger and the resentment and that fueling him, and maybe he's going to be a little more vicious. Okay, that'll even the odds a little bit, but realistically, given what Cody has done to get here and how he's still here, this is John Cena, even with this attitude, can't beat Cody straight up. So more than likely, it's gonna be.
The idea of them having a clean one-on-one match, obviously, I'm pretty sure like even like if they don't explain it with The Rock involved, we all know it's not going to be clean. So I feel like that's confirmed.
But by now, there should have been at least a little bit of a nugget, a little hint of something that should give us some insight as to why it happened. And we haven't gotten it. I'm not you. You do not need full on 40-minute promo explanation. That can certainly, if Cena's going to win, regardless of how he wins, and you want after the fact, you get an explanation, like the full explanation as to how all of this came about. Okay, but you got to give something to somebody. You got to give everybody something to work with as far as that part of this equation, that part of this turn, because it's a part of the story of this that is still lingering. Is why did he do it? Why The Rock? Why did he sell his soul to The Rock? Or why did The Rock? How did The Rock convince him to do this? Give us something to go on to add to this. Give us something to use to fill in that blank, or even as a placeholder to fill in the blank until the full explanation is given, so that everybody says, "Okay, And then you could be like, well, the match isn't going to be straight up. It's going to be this, because then it makes more sense logically and storyline wise, where The Rock says, or it's announced that the match is going to be this. It's going to be. I'm not. I use the bloodline rules as like an analogy, but it's not going to be bloodline rules. It could be like final boss rules, or whatever they have, however they want to work around that to basically like make it like no DQ, or you know Cody could lose on a count out, you know something along those lines. Whatever it is, The Rock's gonna like skew the rules to give Cena an advantage where Cody could be counted out, or if Cody gets DQ'd or something like that, he still loses the title, whatever it is, and then on comes the interference, whatever it is. Something's got to be given
And but at
on
that
that
point though,
end
when it kind of,
too.
I mean, but at that point though, if like the whole idea is to screw Cody in story terms, does The Rock really have to like break down like, oh, why I'm saying fuck you to Cody? Cody said go fuck yourself. I'm making it no DQ. If you get counted out, you lose. If you tap, there's no rope breaks for you. But it's like, like at that point, I feel like if he, like I said, I feel like if anything, like they might like if anybody watched the Chamber and you're going off the rundown of, okay, Cody gassed him up, took all these gifts, told him to go fuck himself in front of millions, not, well, in front of millions and in front of all the people of Canada. Cena goes to hug him. He's like, oh well, bet the plan has really never been you anyway. We got Cena already on the other side. Him and Travis beat the shit out of him, and then every week after that, it's kind of like, okay, well, Cody thinking he about to get a fair 1-on-1, wham. I feel like at that point that also goes to keep Cody on his toes, because if Cody knows what
That's
to
fair.
expect, yeah, like if
That's
Cody,
fair.
yeah, if Cody knows what to expect, then I mean, of course, he can prepare for no rules, or he can prepare to get fucked over.
And they can certainly do that, like before the match happens or during the match. Rock comes out and just is
Hell,
like,
like midway through, like, oh, like, by the way, there's no rope break for Cody, and he just walks out, and then like say something else happens. John Cena's on the floor. It's about to be a 10 count. Say it's like a false finish. Like John Cena gets counted out, like because he really can't get up. Rock comes out and is like, hold on one second, hold on one second. John Cena has no countouts. Cody does though. All right, start the match over. Like he could just do little shit like that on some
sure,
video game shit, and just really add
absolutely,
on to the layers of Cody can't win this match.
absolutely. As long as they do it, yes, absolutely. All my biggest point is, by now there should have been some kind of sort of a nugget as to, even just the slightest bit of information as to why this happened this way. And leading up to WrestleMania, you have two more Raws and three SmackDowns. I am expecting at some point during that, one of the two, or it well, I don't want to say demand, but it needs to be done, whether it's Cena or The Rock. Somebody needs to give some, at least minimal bit of information as to why this happened this way heading into the match. You want to save the screwy way it's going to happen until right before or during? Cool, fine, no problem. But give us some bit of a nugget as to why this happened this way. Somebody's got to give us, one of them's got to give us something, because that part of the puzzle is missing in all this. Is how did it happen? Why did it happen? Why did Rock choose Cena as the backup plan, or was it the plan all along? Because based on Bad Blood, maybe it was. That's why he started with the three fingers, because that's Cena's thing. Maybe that was the plan all along, and it was just to see if Cody was just sort of like, well, if I can get Cody instead, I'll take him. But if he says no, I got my guy. Okay, fine. Or if it was Cena who came to him and said, no, 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 this guy's shitty. This is not how this should be. He screwed everything up last year. It should have been you, whatever it is. He's not the right, whatever, however the explanation might end up being. But if it was John that went to him, that went to Dwayne and put this together, or helped put this together, and said, I'll be your guy. You know me. The battles we had. I can get it done. Okay, fine, but one of the two of them has to give us something to like place hold that hole in the story as to why the two of them are aligned and why he's seen as this way now. They got to give us something as at least a placeholder until there's a real, honest to God, full explanation as to why they got together, which I would assume will happen. Doesn't have to happen now. It could happen after. If Cena wins the title, then the two of them could give some, even at a press conference, they could give some full explanation as to how this all came about and how they did this. Okay, but give us something because there's a hole in the story and everybody knows it. But give us something to place hold there until we actually get a full explanation. Give us something. One of the two should give us something to fill that hole temporarily, at least to make it all flow the way it should. Because right now it's just like, okay, he did it, but nobody's told us why, how, who did what, nothing. It's just that Cena's a heel now, and he's got the title shot, and he hates everybody, and he's run everybody down, and fuck them kids, and all this kind of stuff. And Cody's not it, and he's a glorified chauffeur, and he should not be the champion. You know, although he's glossed over the fact that Cena himself tried to help Cody win because Roman held the company hostage for 4 years. You know, with The Rock's help and all that. Like, give us something to make it make some sense for now until after the fact as to why these two got together this way and Cena's in this spot. Something. There has to be something. That's my opinion. There has to be something. That's just like, it's just like hanging over this whole thing is literally how it happened and how it, it started to lead us to this. That's just kind of hanging up there with no explanation whatsoever. And there should be something to at least to hold everybody over until after the fact, when when the full explanation, when the full story of how they got together and how they planned this and executed it, how that is done. There's got to be something to kind of like hold everybody over as to like why. That's the thing. The why is still just kind of hanging up there, and there's been zero to explain it. Give everybody something. One of the two needs to give everybody something to like I said, at least temporarily fill that spot.
Yeah.
Maybe they will. I mean, like I said, there's 2 Raws and 3 SmackDowns. I don't see a scenario where I don't know if Cena appears again before WrestleMania. I would hope he shows one more time.
I mean, if he's not on TV, he'll be at the press conference, more or less guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I don't think the press conferences will count into his appearances since it's not really televised. I think it'll be streamed. So.
But I would think, if nothing else, you got 2 Raws and 3 SmackDowns. I think The Rock appears before WrestleMania, and not the press conference. I mean, on TV, and then hopefully, then at that point, we get some sort of nugget about this whole thing. That's all everybody really needs, just a little bit of a nugget to fill that void of why, to make this that much more intriguing. Give us something, some bit of information as to why. Not a whole explanation. You don't have to do that now, but something. Because right now it's just sort of hanging up there like, people are loving the promos and all that kind of stuff, but it's still, anybody in the IWC, any other show besides ours, they're still going, everybody's saying the same thing. They haven't said why. Like, John hasn't said why he did it. Rock hasn't said why they did it. Why did he do it? Something. Give us something, a nugget about why. He didn't, like I said, John in these promos hasn't even mentioned him. Cody had to mention him today to add that intrigue to remind everybody of that part of it. I'm not the one who had to sell my soul to The Rock. He mentioned it. Other people have mentioned it on TV. Cena hasn't said a word anywhere about Rock, and Rock's not saying anything. They should have given us some little nugget, and I hope and assume that between now and the 19th, one of them will give us something. Something.
Yeah, I'll just put this one last thing before we move on with this. If anything, I do kind of notice that this is kind of an interesting thing because I don't know, just going back to like what The Rock said as far as like like the ride he's taking people on and things like that. In a way, the way that I guess some people are like feeling like they're getting strung along is like a really unique way to get people to tune it every week. Like in a weird way, I feel like that's probably at least for the minute for the minimal amount of people that want that same type of thing. If they tune in every week when Cena's listed and like they're like trying to figure out like well when's this guy coming, when's that guy coming, it builds up that intrigue only for it to all be revealed at a press conference. Or at least the majority of what people are looking for and expecting to be shown at a press conference, which I find would probably be hilarious. I think that'd probably be hilarious.
That make that part is logical, and as far as like when Cena going to show up, when might The Rock show up, intriguing television. Cena's going to appear. What's he going to say? Like they've been doing since the Chamber and everything, like to keep the interest and to keep the fans showing up and watching. I get that part. That part makes absolute sense, and it's working flawlessly. I get that. But let's be honest. Would this be even more hype if they at least had given us a nugget, a little bit of even just the slightest bit of information as to why this happened or how this happened? Wouldn't this be even better if they'd given us a little bit of that? Not the whole thing, but just a little bit of why.
If I'm being honest, I feel like once they peel back the curtain, it'll probably be. I feel like it's not going to be as satisfying as people think it is because then it's like we would probably dissect the explanation and then be like, "Well, this explanation is ass." So at that point, if at least for like the average person, if they even when I said with the Naomi thing, when Naomi finally cut like a promo fully immersed in this heel gimmick, right? I had high expectations for it. And then she did this proceed with caution thing, which granted, I'm not gonna lie, if this is like some type of nod to Owen Hart because I forgot Owen Hart had a caution type thing with the singlet, like if it's something like that, I'll take my words back and she can go ahead with it. I probably still won't like fully say I like the promo, but I'll tip my hat where it's due. But once she fully started talking about why or like her feelings about everything that happened, I lost all interest in like any idea of her winning. So it's like explanations can help the feud, but it can also hurt it because if it doesn't hit, now everybody's just questioning like, well, why would you tell us that this is your reasoning for it? Like this is kind of a lame reason to hit your friend with a chair and put him through 3 tables. Like why would you like all he did was shake the guy's hand after the match was over. It's like the explanation has to also tie into where it's like, okay, like with Drew, if his all his explanations as to why he does what he does, they sound crazy in story, but if you really listen to what he's saying, it's a valid reason to do something like that. Like, oh, you've been in my way every time I try to win a championship. I'm tired of you. I'm gonna throw you through a table, or I'm gonna throw you into a car. Like, metaphorically speaking, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I agree. And the things that Cena has been saying in this persona as to why he's acting this way has been he's nailed it. Like the turning on the fans, and they've done this to him, and they've mistreated him, and fuck the kids, and all this kind of stuff. The with this new attitude, him talking about why he feels this way and is acting this way is flawless, in my opinion. It's been perfect. Nailed it. No, zero issue whatsoever. Why he's acting like this, but the how he got there part, or why he's this now in that moment is the part that there should be something. Not full on. I'm not saying we have to have, again, we don't have to have a 40-minute promo. We don't need a 400-page memo or
Right.
anything like that that we can read online like a manuscript. I'm not even saying that. But give us a little something to use to sort of fill in that part of this story to hold us over until we get more of the why, or the why, or just the why itself, even if it's not super detailed, until we get the actual why. Give us a little something to use to fill that spot as to why, the why part. Give us something to go with, even on a basic level. Give us something to work with, to fit into this, to put together with his explanation as to why he's acting and feeling this way, coupled with at least the most minimal information possible as to the why part. I think this would be better and be far more intriguing. Not that it's not, but would be far more intriguing because we would have had at least some nugget of the why part, not just him nailing how he feels and why he's feeling this way, and the way he's acting and his excuse for the way he's acting, and the who he's blaming it on, the resentment, the anger, what, all the venom, all that kind of stuff. That's all hit. But give us a little bit of the why, even just something.
Yeah,
And
but
this would be
but when you say kind of like he did that tonight, well, earlier, 'cause I mean when Cody pretty much like asked the question, he ripped into him, which that could have been his why.
maybe.
Because I mean, technically, I feel like that kind of, because that's why I kind of have been taking it as far as
It could be.
if
It can be.
but
It
say
could,
like if he's saying like, oh, like they handed the keys to somebody who doesn't deserve it, and I've always been here, I've always been witnessing what you've done. I told you be more authentic. They see through fake, and you didn't take my advice. You're still wearing these fake suits. You're still acting too perfect. Like, I feel like at that point that I feel like at that point if that's his dissection, I feel like that's kind of it.
it does. It explains it in the context of why he feels the way he does and the way he's acting the way he does, and the anger and resentment. It's like, no, this is not how it should be. That all fits. But again, at the end of the day, it's still the question. There needs to be some bit of information as, okay, well then, why did you need to align yourself with the Rock to do this? You could have just done this. If you're that angry and resentful now, and you don't really think Cody's the guy, they could have just done the turn without the Rock. It would have still been shocking as shit. He could still do all this heading into the match, and then maybe the whole Rock thing was a secret the whole time, and the Rock shows up to help him, and it's like, oh shit, he was the one. Oh shit, he was been with the Rock the whole time. You spring that part later, as opposed to, oh, he's the Rock's guy now, and then you don't bring it up again. Everything else has been explained perfectly, and hating Cody and thinking that Cody's not the guy, and Cody's like a puppet, and Cody's a paper champion, and Cody's not it. Okay, all explained well, and why he thinks he should take it from him and leave with it. Okay, yeah, I get you. That's been explained perfectly. Why he is going to take it from him, and why Cody doesn't deserve to have it. It fits in with all the things he's explained over the last few weeks, with his anger and resentment, and all that. That all fits. I totally agree with you. there still needs to be something that's well, then why did you align with The Rock? Why did you need The Rock to do this? You could have just done this without him. Why? Just anything, any little nugget, even like a teasy little nugget as to why, like a promo showing, something that might have been like hinted towards, or a random tweet or a random whatever, something that gives us a little bit of a nugget as to why the two of them together, why he felt he needed The Rock to do this instead of just doing it. Because he's John Cena. He could have done this without The Rock. And this still would, I mean, theoretically, he could have still done that without The Rock. It would have still been shocking as hell. All of this could have been done this way. It would still be good. It would still make sense without The Rock, but there's still the question of, well, then why The Rock? Why did you feel you need The Rock, or vice versa? If you feel this way, why did you feel you need to do that to be here now in this spot, with this attitude, with these feelings, and why you're acting this way? Why did you need The Rock for that? Or vice versa? Why? Just something. Why? That's the why. Like I said, we got till the 19th. If someone gives us a little bit of nugget as to the why part, I'm good. I'm just saying, I think it should have happened already. But I'm going to let it play. I'm going to trust it, because I know I'm not concerned about how it's going to end at WrestleMania.
Right.
I know it's going to be good. I'm just sitting on okay, everything else has been explained. Why he's against Cody, why he hates Cody, why Cody doesn't deserve it, why he's going to take him out, why he wants to do what he wants to do, why the attitude, why the venom and the hatred towards everyone, including the fans, even the kids, why he's acting like this. That's all been explained perfectly, and it all fits. But the why, just give us something about the why, even just a little bit of something about the why, which they could have done already. And we're still rolling, probably even more hype than we are now, even just a little bit. Because even after the Elimination Chamber press conference, Rock didn't really say. Cena said nothing and left, which I thought was great.
That's what I'm saying with The Rock. I feel like Rock went in there and broke kayfabe talking about Waffle House. I don't want him to tell me anything. Respectfully, I don't want him to tell me anything. Talk about like at least from that perspective, like once Rock went up there and was like, oh, like he peeled back the curtains a little bit, but at that point it's just you went into talking about Waffle House. Like you did a throat slit. You just whipped a man. Travis Scott just gave Cody a minor concussion, and you want to talk about your Waffle House order? Like, no offense to no offense to Malcolm, the guy that asked it, but I'm like, Cena's the only dude that went in there from a kayfabe perspective and wanted to sell it. Rock didn't even want to sell it in the moment, at least. And Cody sold it by just not being there.
But maybe that's part of the storyline. Is that's Dwayne Johnson, the TKO board of directors, the company guy, being lighthearted and talking about it and acting like, there was a great show and all this and blah, 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 blah.
Well, like a two-sided coin type thing? Like
yeah.
when he's in front of the media, he's nice, but in front of the public, like the fans.
But when he's on camera, it's the final boss and screw y'all. And this is why it happened. Give us something. That's what I'm saying. He could play that where, when he needs to do something company wise, he's Dwayne Johnson, and he needs to be Dwayne Johnson, the charismatic people's champion, yada, yada, yada. He needs to be that for the company. But when it comes to this part of the company, he's the final boss, and what he says goes. and what he wants to make happen. Just like last year, where he wanted himself to be in there, but then all the backlash, he switched it around, and we got that epic main event. And he told Cody, "Don't disappoint me again." Well, apparently Cody must have disappointed him, because here we are. So give us a little why, just a little why. You could have Rock appear on any show. I don't care if it's pre-taped. You could have a Rock appear on any show between now and WrestleMania. The final boss shows up and gives us just a tiniest, teeniest little bit of information about the why, and leave us hanging. Fine. Just a tiny, tiny little bit. That's all I'm saying. I think this would be far better. And it's not that it's not great, but I think it would be far better if you had just the tiniest bit of information as to why. Even if The Rock came out, final boss form, and just said, "Know your role, shut your mouth, and keep riding, keep riding the train," and that the story we're going to tell you, and you just got to deal with the fact that John Cena is the Rock's champion, and if you don't like it, he can curse whatever you can call the fans whatever you want. If you don't like it, you can kiss the Rock's ass, or
the people's ass,
you can
or
shut the
something
fuck
like
up,
that,
or whatever. Something, anything that would be fine.
Yeah,
that would be fine. At least there's something there as to the why, and it alludes to the fact that they're a team, because there's been nothing else to allude to that since. That would even work, because then it's like, okay, well, The Rock said it once before at NXT, just go along for the ride. Well, give us a little, speed up the roller coaster just a slight bit. Like, give us a little dip in the roller coaster before it levels back off. Just give us something, any little thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, they got like 2 weeks, so should be who knows? They might do it, they might not. At this point, it's kind of just the revolving door of that. So, what was after that? Yeah, the New Day and
New Day.
yeah. Well, the New Day. They came out originally. It was a mystery who their opponent was, but then we found out it was Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. I didn't know Bate was injured, so that was very much insightful that he had been on the shelf with was it a leg injury or something?
Yeah.
He looked younger. It's actually crazy how much he reverted back by just going to his old haircut.
I gotta say though,
yeah,
I'm not feeling the porn stash on him.
I mean, he been rocking that for a minute though. That's his thing now.
I'm not feeling it though.
Yeah, respectable. It just got interesting. Like he's really like that's really like his adaptive thing now. If he had a beard, I think at one point in NXT he had a beard.
Yeah.
So I mean, he probably just likes the Dan Severn like mustache or something.
Yeah, it was a little porn stashy. I'm not feeling it, but good to see him.
Yeah, but match overall very, very good. Obviously, Bate and Dunn are class acts. I wish Dunn would have been being used more instead of just them kind of like holding him off the whole. Well, they probably have been showing him at like house shows and stuff, but as far as TV is concerned, the last time he had been seen was as like a middle ground between the Penta and Kaiser feud that went on for the next week or two after. So I kind of wish they just got used a lot more. I mean, maybe the whole plan was to just have them reload the tag team division because they did get drafted as a tag team anyway. But it's kind of those, you kind of forget that they were a team because Bate got injured. No one really knew when or how long he would be out. Could have been that. I don't know.
Yeah. Solid match. Expected outcome. Now, I mean, I'm not trying to drag this episode out, but now it got me thinking. Right? Because after the match,
go ahead. Hey, they want to know.
After the match, right before they hit the back, the War Raiders music hit, and they came out looking like bikers, of course. And nice line by Cole. Raw is war. Nice salute to the old days. I like that. Here's a thought. It popped into my head. So this could go two ways,
Right.
right? Big E returns at WrestleMania and costs them the match. Okay.
Right.
Scenario two, they win the tag titles and they beat down the War Raiders. Big E comes out, takes them out. He feuds with them, but not necessarily by himself. Because if he can get back in the ring, which he alluded to, so I assume he wouldn't say that if there was no plan for him to get back in the ring. But to kind of ease him back and not put too much risk on him right away, Biggie gets a partner and feuds with New Day for the tag belts. Or scenario three, and this is the swerve, New Day are cheating their asses off in the match to try to win it. You get a ref bump, you get whatever the match might be. You get like a lull where they're cheating their ass off. It looks like they're gonna win. Big E's music hits. He comes out. New Day are scared shitless because Big E's coming out there to kick their asses. He's in his ring gear, and he flips, helps them win.
I feel like one of those. Most people. I feel like most kind of. It would kind of make sense if they just had to be like, oh, like them turning on Biggie was just like the whole play on words type of thing before, like, oh, they just start getting serious, they win their gold back, and then now Biggie has fire under him because now it made them closer as brothers, yada yada yada.
That could be a way to turn Big E heels, where it's like he loves his brothers, he wants them to be a group again, and he realized, and he could cut a promo on to that effect, where he realized that they were right and they needed to go a different direction to get back to being, a group, a brotherhood, and be the champions again, and he goes along with it to stick with his brothers, at least temporarily. But I wouldn't hate the fact that if he to ease him back into in ring, if he is coming back in ring. I assume he is. Like I said, I don't think he would have mentioned it if it wasn't the plan. I wouldn't hate the fact that to take it easy on him if he feuds with them with a partner. He gets a partner and feuds against them for the tag belts.
But who would pair with
And
him that wouldn't be like out of the blue? Because it's hard to kind of make a pairing for Big E and it not seem like, oh, this is just to kind of feud with them, essentially.
I don't know, a call up. I don't know exactly. I don't know the exact details on Odyssey Jones and why he was fired.
Oh yeah, that's deaded.
Okay, but
yeah, no, well, yeah, I mean, just on that, like with the whole Odyssey thing, like Odyssey has like a legal issue, so that's why he kind of just got dropped. But even if like we go off of like say call up wise, I could see him managing a team that would go and target them, I guess.
But if he alluded to the fact that he said until he was medically cleared he would manage them, I would think that's a hint that he's getting back in the ring.
Yeah, but at that point it's like, if we think about like the medically cleared term, it takes the average wrestler, at least from like that neck injury thing. Like I think Big E's been injured for what, 2 years now, 2-3 years.
No, it's been longer than that. It was pandemic or he got hurt, wasn't it? Or just the tail end of it?
No, it was a crowd there because it was like that was like after.
Saying, but at the tail end of it when they were having crowds again, isn't that when it happened? It's been at least 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, cause like I know the brawling brutes were a thing. So Ridge Holland got called up like 2023, 2022, I think. Let me see. But yeah, it's like I mean, yeah, like if that's what I can think of was like if he manages somebody, then it's like okay, well then it's like at that point like oh like who meshes with him mechanically to make it match up. It's kind of hard. That's why I feel like at that point like initially I'm pretty sure like the only method they have is to pair them off again just as heels because at this point they're kind of like obviously they said it themselves they're soul bonded so that's why Kofi and Woods didn't break up because realistically unless you're putting them in singles action who else meshes with them mechanically it's not many so I feel like their only
Yeah.
loophole would probably be to just have it be on some like so I think initially like the Sammy KO stuff was like that where uh like Kevin was trying to like get Sammy to be on his side against with the whole Shane thing. Sammy kept saying no, get your head on straight, and then at the chamber, well not the chamber, but at Hell in a Cell, Sammy's like, oh well, I can't let my best friend get put through a table, and he ends up helping him win.
Well, no, that's certainly a possibility. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I'm not refuting it. I'm just saying like as far as like the only real option that they probably have would be just to realign them again and just be like, oh well, that's because I feel like at that point, like if he fights them, it would have to really just be him against them solely, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he could. They could go that route where he's so desperate to have the Brotherhood again that he aligns with them, you know, sort of half-heartedly just to have the Brotherhood back together, and then he slowly wins them back over to the good positivity side because he just doesn't fit what they're doing. He tries to go along with it, but he just doesn't fit, and then he slowly wins them back over to the good side, I guess, to the more positivity side of it, because maybe with him being there, he's not as mean as they are, and it affects them all, and the crowd starts, turning a little bit back where they stop. There's not as many New Day sucks chants, and they start chanting. Well, some fans start chanting New Day rocks again because Big E's there, and it gets them. It snaps them back into like, yeah, this is what we should be. This isn't it. It's pretty simplistic, but it would work.
I mean, but they've only been healed for like what 4 months, 3 months.
Mm,
Like
when
if
did
anything, like if anything, it seems like it's still like very fresh. At least I
well
think
did
it's
wasn't
fresh.
I think what the turn on Big E was before Netflix.
Oh yeah, it was definitely before Netflix. So that's like
So
December, November ish.
okay, well I mean, like I said, if he decide if you can't beat him, join him, and he wants to get back into it, you could drag it out for a little bit and then work them back into baby faces and have them as a trio where they could freebird it. And if Big E can get back in the ring, then he doesn't have to do a lot of heavy lifting to like, keep himself safe and protected until he works himself back to the point where he could be a singles again.
Yeah,
Wouldn't hate it.
yeah. Mm, Oh, so. Oh, well, just to run down everything, I think. Just to sum it up, those was at a backstage segment. Basically just hyping them up for the match that happened after that. Jay wanted to be out there. Jimmy's like, nah, I'm trying to quiet the noise, lock in, stuff like that. But inevitably, we see why Jay told him to be careful because that match was that match was solid.
It's exactly, it's when we said it last week, when we said it last week
Right.
for last week's show,
If you
what
haven't
needed
seen
to
that, then
happen,
go check
what
that out.
needed, yes, please. because we said it. What needed to happen is exactly what happened. Did Jimmy get offense in and look credible? Of course, it's Jimmy. But at the end of the day,
Gunther killed him.
what did Gunther destroyed him? That's exactly what we needed. And then, yeah, because he power bombed him twice, lifted him up so he wouldn't pin him, and then choked him out,
Yeah.
and then attacked him again, and then Jay came out. He got the better of Jay, zip tied him to the ring ropes, and just obliterated Jimmy. Blood.
Yeah, but I say hit him with the belt. Yeah, hit him with the belt, cut him open, I think.
Yep. Had blood all. He was,
it
beating
was
him
crazy.
down. Blood on him. He wiped the blood all over himself. He even like he had blood on his finger and put the blood in his mouth.
Yeah,
on his tongue and then spit.
Yeah, licked his finger, spit it out. It's like,
and Jay's just sitting there. Yeah, and
seething.
Jay's just sitting there helpless. And that's the kind of hell.
He even attacked guards too, like security guard. I think a security guard got power bombed on the stairs.
He was gonna, because he wanted to power bomb Jay onto the steps, and the security guard stopped it before he did the zip tie, and then he power bombed the guard. The security guard took a couple of them out, and then did his thing and mocked Jay. So Jimmy's destroyed. Exactly what we needed. More games, more physical and mental games against Jay to make Jay feel helpless, insecure, and doubtful that he can win. And that's what we needed. That's exactly what we needed.
Man, I'm like, at that point, like, I felt like for most people, you can kind of say that Gunther had not felt like a monster since, I guess you can even go back to NXT UK days, but he hasn't felt like a monster in a while. Seeing some stuff like that, where, he's bloodying up his opponent's brother, choked him out in front of him. His brother's blood is all over the champion. It's like, that's like another layer to Gunther's character that they probably, they've delved into it a few times, but to this extent, to where he's kind of like, he's taking pleasure in the pain that he's causing Jay, as from a physical and an emotional level, which at that point triumphs the Sammy build-up when he lost the IC title, I would say.
Right.
It was mental for Sammy, but it wasn't like, he didn't really have anybody to attack in Sammy's real, immediate circle to make it mad personal. Jay, seeing your twin brother get massacred in front of you, it could only make you, the only choice you have is to lock in, which is exactly what we needed for Jay to do, like something to make him lock in and give us like right hand man Jay. If it's not even a heel form, but just like the I'ma get him, I want this championship Jay. We needed that.
Yeah.
The same Jay that wanted to dethrone
Jay
Roman.
Doubting himself.
Yeah.
It's the mental and physical games. It's Gunther's too vicious. He's too powerful. He's too good. He's too manipulative. Jay can't beat him.
Yeah.
This is what the 10 weeks of hell, this is what we should be getting. Stuff like this. This is exactly what it needed to be.
And it's amped up right before the show itself.
Now Jay is probably mentally hurt. Not so much physically hurt, but he's mentally hurt. His brother's been left in a bloody, destroyed heap.
Right.
He's already doubting himself. Now it could be even more because Jimmy's like, I got this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to beat him so you can beat him. And then Jimmy went out there and got obliterated. So now Jay's got that on his mind, that his brother is hurt, badly hurt, and that's going to weigh on his mind too, and that's going to make him doubt himself even more, and that's going to help lead into the match, where he might be off his game, off kilter, leading up to it, and then maybe even at the beginning of the match, he's off his game, he's off kilter, and then the confidence shows up, and he just does it.
Yeah.
But this was exactly what it needed to be. Perfect.
Exactly. Also, weird way.
Other than maybe Jay getting beaten too. I really can't. I can't nitpick this. This is exactly what it should have been.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple shots at Jay while he was zip tied instead of like taunting him. I get that part. That makes sense and that fits.
Yeah.
But
But
maybe he
also
could
to be,
have taken a
but
couple
also to be
slaps at him or something like that, just to
yeah.
like
But also to be fair, I mean, like he had been
uh
like at
kind of
least like the last
pound
couple
that
of weeks
home a
it had
little
been
bit
him
more.
doing it.
Pause. Y'all,
Hey
some people are perverted,
yo.
but to pound that home a little bit more, like a couple of slaps at him because he can't hit back, a
Hey
couple of punches,
yo.
whatever it is, just to further like drive it home. Like you're not gonna beat me.
Yeah. I mean, he had been doing it for the past 2 weeks
Other
though.
minor gripe. Other than that,
Yeah.
exact flawlessly executed, exactly what it needed to be.
Is my mic?
Now there's that much more intrigue into uh WrestleMania because like can Jay win?
Yeah. Yeah. What else was Oh, but also, I think it was like a few. There were a few wrestlers from like the UK tryout that they did recently. I think it was like
Mm-hmm.
like Rio, man, like Derice that were like there as guards. That was pretty cool because I didn't realize that until like I went on Twitter and I seen they said I think Derice was like one of the first guards on the opposite end or something like that to like get Gunther out of there, and Rio was next to Jimmy. So that was pretty cool to see like them have a spot in England for the show itself.
Yep.
Uh, all right. After that, we had the Judgment Day segment. Not really much of note. I mean, the usual build up. Finn and Finn and the women don't get along, and it's very much apparent. And that's really mainly the thing that I kind of got out of it. Outside of the fact that they have a tag team match later tonight against Penta and Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
So not really much of note. I can see that the same thing I've been thinking for the past like few weeks of us doing this. Dominic being the leader is definitely something that they're building towards, or at least if it's not by virtue of like him wanting to do it willingly, Liv is going to manipulate him into thinking he's ready to be a leader, and that's going to be the thing that causes Finn to get kicked out in the
Or
dissension.
the two of them as like a quote unquote couple.
Yeah. They already got the power couple aspect, but I think Liv wants him to be like the dominant. Like at that point, if she's
Right.
like she's like champion on the side, she'll take it. But she wants Dom to start taking more initiative.
But they would in essence be Cody because they're like a power couple and she's got the manipulation over him. So it would be, but in that case, then if you add to the group, is it like a more quote unquote unknown that they add to the group that they call up? Do they call up somebody to add to the group so that at least temporarily, like Dom and Liv are leading the group, and it's not somebody like an Alistair or a Karrion Cross that like takes over as a leader?
I mean,
I mean, obviously JD is going to be back soon, but is that going to be the new day when Finn is out? Is Dom and JD and Carlito and the girls?
the thing that I could think of is if anything, I feel like JD probably. I feel like JD eventually probably just ends up either doing his own thing or he sides with Finn from like a mentor
Maybe
standpoint.
maybe eventually, but I think maybe at first JD comes back and he's with them. But
Yeah, but like
long
off
term,
but like off the rip, it's like, 'cause I mean, if when by the time JD gets back, they're probably like knowing how they book Judgment Day feuds, they're gonna be dealing with Finn for the next 4 months if they turn on him. So if JD comes back
you think
within those
so?
four, I mean, if you think about it, the Rhea Ripley thing damn near lasted a year. Priest was involved with that. That lasted up until the beginning of what this year when they moved Priest over, I think, with that shakeup and everything, or was it like the end of last
Mm,
year? Like they feuded with them for a long time because eventually, like for some reason, Judgment Day always kick somebody out and then they can't stay out of the other person's business. So it's like JD's gonna come
I
back
just
in
don't.
and it's gonna probably be like, oh, whose side is he on? Or it's like it's kind of the obvious where it's like Finn trained him. Finn literally has known him since he was like mid 20s or whatever. It's like
I don't have a problem with that. I obviously JD coming back at first, he should be with the group, but
I
it,
mean, I mean,
you're not
I mean, if he could be with the group, if Finn's a part of it, if Finn's still a part of it, which I doubt it, then it will make sense to like bring him back into the fold, and then okay, now JD's there to see the dissension live. But even before he got injured, he always picked Finn's side when Finn would be like, oh, I'm locking in, or I have to take initiative. JD was always on Finn's
okay.
side.
Okay, but if you're gonna do that, then it kind of you kind of have to do what they've been saying they wanted to do for what
Oh, yeah, of
two
course.
months now.
Yeah,
A new member, a new member, a new member. So there
yeah,
has to be a new
at that
member.
at that point, once Finn gets kicked out, like you said, a call up or carrying Cross. Because I feel like Cross at this point probably wouldn't even mind. Because like obviously they always say like, oh, Judgment Day has no leader. So if it's like a three-headed serpent or whatever, and it's like you got Dom, Carrion, and Liz, where
You
they all just
could,
kind of where they all kind of just have a say in each other's ideas. Plus you have Scarlet too. So I mean, there's a couple ways they can go with it.
you could. I mean, in theory, you could.
Yeah.
You could.
Plus, I feel like it'll be
You could
even if
make
it's
it.
like if you have Cross and Mysterio, hypothetically, like if you have Cross and Mysterio versus JD and Finn. Finn keeps a friend and an ally, and now it's basically like the new Judgment Day, but it's a more scarier one because technically you could say Carrion has an edge over Finn because they used to fight for the NXT Championship, and I don't think Finn has beaten Carrion clean that I can recall.
Yeah, but then what happens with JD? Does JD come back into the group temporarily and gets kicked, or just realizes that this isn't it and Finn's my guy and he turns on them
I think he just leaves.
and him and feud?
Cause I feel like if
Does
anything, JD just joins back in on the feud. I don't think JD kind of, because even then JD pretty much like he was already brought in by Finn. So initially, once Finn's out, I feel like it's only fair that
or
JD follows.
does Finn get kicked out for a new member, which de facto makes Finn a babyface, and then not just because of his loyalty to Finn, but because of what happened in his last match and the respect he has now, he just comes back as a babyface and gets cheered and then helps Finn.
That's kind of mainly what I'm getting at. Cause
Okay,
cause
yeah.
more or less like everybody kind of knows like once they see you take like an injury like that, it's gonna be hard for them to boo you at least for the first like I said like for the first like 4 months of them seeing you again. It's gonna be hard for them to boo you. Like it happened with Edge in a way. Like Edge came back from the neck injury, everybody was happy about it, ecstatic, and then after a couple months went by, they were content with booing him again because of the Judgment Day and everything. So it could be one of those type of situations if I had to choose one. Um. Okay. So what's after that? Guys, I'm trying to figure something out. 1 second. I think he got DC'd. Bum, bum, mm, mm. Okay. We'll just kind of hold off a little bit. See what's going on with this. Yeah. Let's not cut this part out, or later at least I can trim some stuff up. Uh, I mean, I guess I can kind of go into the next one a little bit more. Kind of like just I guess like a precursor. So we had the tag team match with Penta and Braun Breaker against Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. Judgment Day match. Me personally, I will say the match was pretty solid. Kind of went the way you would expect one of these Judgment Day matches to go. Obviously, Braun is a machine, a juggernaut of sorts, and he was going to be the one that it was hard for him to get offense on. So that in itself plays into it a lot, or played into the story that they had with Penta obviously being the new guy. Him and Braun were going to be on eggshells. It was going to be an uneven pairing of sorts, and Judgment Day being the powerhouse stable or the more familiar tag team group. So
Well,
everything good
this
now?
will be
Or?
interesting. Yeah. I just had a. I don't know. I got disconnected for a second, but
Yeah,
I heard you. Yeah.
yeah. But what was I gonna say? Oh, but yeah, like Judgment Day won after like a miscommunication or a miscommunication of sorts. They got Braun Breaker to spear Penta. I kind of like that they did it with Dom kind of calling it out when they were gonna jump Penta instead, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, hold on." He's charging up in the corner. Boom, Penta gets speared. Coup de grace, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
We talked about it a little bit earlier, as far as at least like some people on the internet were kind of thinking, "Oh, Penta's screwed over, and Triple H doesn't know what he's doing." From the way he took the pin to me, I feel like that keeps him as clean as you possibly can. But also at the
Yeah,
same
he's
time,
protected.
yeah,
He's protected. They could have had them win I suppose they could have had them win a different way, but if the two of them are going to be in the Intercontinental title match, they needed to win in a
look,
strong enough
yeah,
way
or
to
or,
put them in it. So it doesn't
or
hurt
yeah,
Penta that.
or I wouldn't say like strong. But I feel like at that point, like they had to be credible. So at that
Well, that's what I
point,
mean.
yeah, but yeah,
That's
it's
what I
like
mean.
yeah,
So
cause I wouldn't say like they really. I wouldn't say it was like a feeling between like whether or not it's like a bad or like a. I don't think it's like a weak or a strong type of thing. It was more or less just. I mean, if Braun is the wall that we all know is in this match, if anybody gets hit by him, whether it's intentional or unintentional, the match is over. So I feel like that aspect was just what they kind of wanted to play up to, which was pretty much is fair.
but in general sense, it does keep Penta looking strong because he got speared, and it took Anna coup de grace to pin him. It
Yeah,
wasn't like he took the spear and somebody quickly just covered him and that's it, match over.
but that still kind of would have saved them because I mean, Braun, like at least the storyline was, I feel like Braun's beating Penta 1-on-1.
Um,
Or if we're going off of like just like the magnitude of like strength to speed type thing, could be a similar case.
it could be, but that's also how you know speed and savvy and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of how Jay beat him. So
Yeah, I should not think.
so,
Wait,
but
does
but
Penta weigh does
like I
Penta weigh
said,
less than Jay?
oh,
I,
probably, but not by
yeah,
much.
yeah,
Probably
but
not by
yeah,
much.
I know they're both 200, 200 over at least, but
I think Jay's around 220, 220 something. So Penta's
yeah,
probably in that range. He's in that range at least. Yeah.
yeah, somewhere around there. But yeah,
But it makes sense. That's fine. I don't. Penta's not hurt by this. Um, and obviously it pisses him off, and he'll probably get his shot. And now Finn, because as they said, Finn's gonna ask for a title shot, and then you know, Liv tells Dominic he should go ask for a shot, so he's gonna go ask for a shot, and
oh no, I
there
think
you, there's
yeah, Liv's doing it. Yeah, I know, yeah, because I think
yeah,
yeah, like Finn went to go do it, and Liv starts like trying to tell him, oh, he's taking credit for your win. He's taking credit for the win. He said he won, not we won, type thing, and yeah, which kind of
Yeah.
goes into just more or less the same thing from earlier.
Yeah,
I kind of
continuing
like it
toward
though.
yeah, continuing towards a breakup, but it also makes sense to put the if they're all going to be in the match to get them in it.
Yeah, or at least
So yeah,
or at least it's based off of what they've been doing as far as even though Kaiser hasn't been on TV, he's not gonna just let Penta get another rematch freely. Um, I feel like Sheamus somehow is gonna work his way in there because it's Mania and it's the IC title.
well
Um,
we haven't seen him though, so we don't even do we know even know that
I
because
mean
we
he did.
haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, he just came back recently, I think it was during the European tour, like he did like a house show or something.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, because I feel like if anything, Sheamus always just ends up around a mid card title whenever Mania comes around.
Yeah, but then you've got that whole thing where should Sheamus win it then
Oh, if he's in it, he's
to
probably
finally get
winning.
that
Yeah,
the grand slam?
yeah. Because if we go down the line, like Kaiser will probably have it at the end of the year. Penta midway through the year, or maybe even next year, they'd probably give him a title. Dom, it's a build up process because he's going to be feuding with Finn, vice versa for Finn.
Yep.
If Braun's getting moved up, the 6-man free that wants the title purely for the fact of he's been in the company for not mad long, but he's been in the company for over a decade, and this title has eluded him for that long. You can give it to Sheamus, and more or less it would just be like a feather to the cap, pay tribute to a fine career that he's had, and he can hold it until SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I feel like that would be like a fair. Because at first I thought it would be like Logan Paul and AJ, but I guess they want to give them a one-on-one match because Logan's been in hella multi-man matches since he's been there, so they probably were like, okay, let's put him in there with AJ,
That's true,
see if he
and
cooks.
they'll cook.
Ah,
Logan and AJ will cook. Yeah, I'm not saying 5-star,
yeah,
but
that's like it'll be good, but it's like, yeah, I don't. It's hard to tell. It's
I
hard
think
to
low
tell.
key it's gonna be. I think low key it's gonna be very good.
Yeah,
I think better than
yeah.
you think.
I don't think it's gonna be like. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say like, oh, like Logan's trash or anything. Like, obviously, like those guys are good. But as far as at this point, it's kind of one of them things where, cause there's some people out there that probably just think that like AJ is like just always putting out gold. And while AJ's putting out good matches, I don't think he's really had a banger in a while. At least since he's been back from injury, it's been a minute since I've said like, oh yeah, AJ had match of the night.
Yeah, but you don't think him and Logan could plan out a banger?
I mean, if we're being honest, Logan's probably, if anything, Logan's following AJ's lead. Outside of like, we can probably get to this, like, it's like almost in the same neck of the woods anyway. Outside of the finisher at the end of the little what's it, pulverizer or something that Logan does?
Pulverizer. I think it's called
It,
pulverizer.
yeah, the
Yeah.
pulverizer. Outside of that, I mean, outside of that, I don't think there's really
He,
anything about it that's like making me think like, oh yeah, this match is gonna get nutty or something. Like, I don't think there's anything
I
making
think
me get
with
that feeling.
someone that I think with someone like AJ, they could actually pull out some stuff, and Logan could show off what he can really do because he's.
But
I don't like.
I feel like Logan always gets his stuff in though.
Okay, but maybe he can get some new stuff in because of he's working with someone like AJ, and they can work out some spots where he can show some stuff that he normally doesn't. Maybe
Uh,
show some technical stuff, because he's in there with someone like AJ. Show a little, you know, a new little wrinkle
I
to
mean,
his repertoire. Yeah, I
I mean,
just think I think it could be. It could
I,
be.
I
I'm
mean,
not saying.
yeah. So, cause I'm thinking like really, like as far as like what Logan has shown, like if I'm going off the match that he's done, he's either been the spot guy or he's just throwing himself around. Which nothing is wrong with that. And for him being new to the business, that's what most of them do is throw themselves around and
I think he was his qualifier match with Ray. I thought was solid. It wasn't just flying around. I thought it was solid.
yeah,
I
but
think if with the right
yeah, but
person, he
yeah,
could.
yeah, yeah. I'm saying at that point, like obviously, like with Ray, he can play the power game, which is the easiest that's like basically hype 1-on-1. I feel like everybody kind of Ray can make anybody look good. When it comes to Styles, though, it's like granted Styles isn't gonna like go out there and stink up the joint, but I don't
No.
think it'll be like. I think AJ's probably just gonna let Logan do what he does. He's probably gonna do his springboards. He's gonna fly all over the place. AJ's gonna try to ground him, even though Logan's bigger, which is kind of going to like a similar point. But I mean, I feel like that's basically what they're gonna do. Where AJ's gonna do his usual stuff, the the combo, the calf slicer. Like I feel he's gonna do his shtick.
The calf crusher.
Yeah, but it's like at that point, they'll probably be like, it's probably gonna be like a night one match. Shoot, they might go first. It's I don't know. Maybe the segment also didn't sell me on it either. So that could be another reason why I'm not really thinking about the match as much as someone else might. So
Yeah, I don't know. You might be underestimating a little bit.
yeah,
I think it's gonna be better than. I think it's gonna be better than you think.
yeah. I mean, no, I'm saying like I'm not saying like it's gonna be trash. I just don't think it's gonna.
No way.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's gonna be trash. I just don't think it's gonna be like, oh, this is competing for match of the night, or oh, Logan did it.
Well,
Like
no.
that's my whole point. I'm not saying like they're gonna go out there and lay an egg because I mean, AJ was getting good matches out of Omos, like respectfully, even though
No,
Omos is in
it would
Japan
be. I'm not
working on
gonna say
himself.
5-star, but I think it could be. Saying it could be a low key banger doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a 5-star, but I think it's gonna be better than
I think it's
it
a smooth.
seems on paper.
It'll probably be. I mean, it'll probably be a smooth 2.
Wow, damn, that's some
Because
low expectations there, brother.
I mean, cause like there's no real build to this story. It's like if I think up like this, I feel like this match has the least amount of depth to it because literally all I've gotten is okay. AJ came back. He was feuding with Braun for a little bit. They just randomly dropped it for whatever reason. Now he's beefing
Right.
with Logan. Logan's like, oh, I got more money than you. I'm energetic and yada yada yada. Then Karen got involved. Don't know where the hell that went. Now he's focused on nothing. And now it's like you just have AJ saying like, "Oh, Logan, you could be so much better if you stop talking so much." It's like, how am I supposed to follow? That's been the most uneven story building out of all the matches.
I can't argue that.
Yeah, so it's like at that point, it's hard for me to be like, "Oh, yeah, Logan and them are gonna go out there and bang it." When it's like, pause, hold on, phrasing was crazy. Um, it's hard to think that they're gonna go out there and have like an exceptional match when if I'm watching it and someone asks me, oh, like why is Logan and AJ in the ring, and it's like, oh well,
That's fair.
Logan's rich, yeah, like
that is fair. It's a match for the card. It'll be a good match. It
it's
could
like
be a low key banger.
respect for AJ, it's kind of filler, like
Kind of fit. All right. That's for filler has a bit of a negative connotation to it, but it's just like it's there. It's put together so that two good wrestlers can be on the card and have a good match, and they're there. It's just sort of there.
Yeah, but I like I didn't even feel it in like a bad way. I mean, some of the filler matches be better than the main match. Like I think half the tag team matches that's been on, like half the tag matches that have been on Mania have been filler matches, but they bang because it's like, oh well, now it's like okay, I didn't have expectations, but it's like, hey, you put some people I like in there, we can watch it.
Yeah.
But if it's like one-on-one matches where it's like, okay, you have 5 weeks to build it, give me something. Oh, I'm rich and he isn't. Like that's basically kind of what I got. Or it's like I'm rich, he isn't. I'm more athletic. He's not as athletic as he used to be. I'm younger and got here quicker. He's old and it took him 16 years to get here. It's like that's basically all I got.
Well, maybe I mean, you got 2 more Raws.
Yeah.
Maybe they can add a little something to it to make it like, all right.
Yeah. Put a little spice of life.
It'll be fine, but maybe they can add something to it.
Yeah, to at least kind of like I said earlier, like I feel like that like there's other matches on the card that I feel like it's probably kind of also why Matt DeSanta had earlier. There's a few matches on this card for Mania, from my mind, that have way less story than I guess like the main 4 or 5 matches that are on the card. It's like the main 4 or 5 at the top. It's like, okay, well, Rumble winner, Chamber winner, they have beef, blow off. Like there's reasons you could find for it, and then there's like AJ and Logan. Why are we here? Type of thing.
The 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 rare cynicism from PTP. There's the main matches, there's the beef, and then there's Logan AJ. Why are we here? Okay, all right.
It's like, I don't know. It's like, granted, like I like Logan. I like Logan.
I like Logan. I like Logan the performer. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now Logan the businessman, different story.
Well, I mean, I don't mind his. Honestly, I don't mind his podcast either.
Yeah.
Because he's leaning more into this side of his career a little bit. So
the Taker interview was informative.
Yeah.
Taker told him to chill it out. The Roman interview was fire from like last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
the Randy
fire.
one was good. The Randy one was good.
Oh, I need to see the Randy one. I didn't think I seen that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot we missed something a little bit after that. Oh, before that. Not really much of note. Gable and Pierce had a backstage segment. Kind of just playing more into the story of Gable's not on the card next week in his hometown of Minnesota, but I mean El Grande Americano has a match next week. I mean, not much.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
It kind of adds some comedy to like a very, very serious card. So I guess that's kind of what they wanted.
If it gets Gable on the card one way or another, and maybe like it's like him and Ray Phoenix or something like that, okay. If it's not that, I'm not sure exactly what the point
for Raw?
is. No, for WrestleMania.
Oh.
If this is what leading to Gable as El Grande Americano, like open challenging before or that night, whichever night it is, open challenging that he can beat any luchador and he gets Ray Phoenix. If that's what it ends up being, I'm okay. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I feel like it depends.
I'm not sure what else it could be. That'd be like, all right.
If anything,
what else could there
if anything, at the lowest ceiling, at the lowest ceiling is either we get him and Ray in a one-on-one match, or we get the one that nobody probably like it won't be a bad match, but it's not something that people would actually want. We'll probably just get American Made against like Ray. I mean, you still could. I mean, I guess you can get Phoenix still. Like it'd be like Ray, Dragon, and Phoenix. Like a one night only type thing.
Yeah, but is it Gable or is it El Grande Americano?
I feel like between now and then he'll probably get unmasked.
Why do it then? If you're not going to at least give him one like showcase match as this dark luchador or whatever it is, what's the payoff then?
I mean, the whole point of it, I feel like, is internally Gable's kind of making up because he's already said he doesn't like luchadors. So the whole gimmick itself is essentially him making fun of Lucha Libre as a whole. So if the goal is like, okay, let's give him 2 to 3 matches minimum, maybe, or he's already made a mockery of it. We made a vignette for him. He's unmasked Dragon Lee. He clearly doesn't respect the art. We can unmask him. Everybody knew it was Gable the whole time. And then basically you just get American Made against essentially 3 of the best luchadors wrestling today. which probably could bang.
You could.
It's the lowest form of what they could do, but
You can't. You could.
yeah,
I don't know. You could.
yeah.
If you
Plus,
had to do it that way, you could.
it'll depend for Friday too. Like depending on who Phoenix's first match is, would probably. Oh, actually, not. Well, I don't even know why I'm thinking that. They're probably gonna. If anything, they're probably gonna give him Mello or something. I don't know why I'm even trying to think about what they're gonna do.
You're go ahead. You're just predicting. Did they actually say he was wrestling, or they just say he was debuting?
He'll be there Friday, but 9 out of 10, he's gonna wrestle. At least I hope, because if they just gonna give him a mic and be like, "Oh, I'm Phoenix and I'm a luchador," and I don't think they'll say that. I'm sorry, that was mad crazy. If he just goes out there and is like, "Oh, like I'm Phoenix, I'm a proud," something like that. If he just does that and it's like there's no match, I don't know.
Hmm.
But I feel like worst case scenario, they give him a match and it's probably just gonna be Mello. It'll be good, but I feel like they're probably just gonna it's gonna be like, oh, Mello probably said something on accident next to the Miz, and Nick Aldis is like, oh, you want a match tonight? Oh, but I got the perfect guy for you. Like, and Hayes is like, oh, who is it? You'll find out when you get out there. It's right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I thought they always do that with Mello, whether it's like a returning guy or like a new guy. Throw him in there with Mello.
I don't like it, but
Hey, Mello don't miss
Mello.
though.
I know Mello don't miss, but Mello isn't like a jobber or an enhancement guy either. So like, come on. I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go out
yeah.
there and lose to the new guy, even though the new guy is very good, and it doesn't really hurt him. But the culmination of what's been happening of late is hurting him.
Yeah.
Not in a vacuum of that one match doesn't hurt him because it's Ray friggin' Phoenix, but
It's like a
the
snowball
culmination
effect
of
type thing.
yeah, it's a domino effect of what's been happening lately. It's like Mello don't miss, Mello been missing, but it's not his fault. But Mello been missing, Mello been bricking. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Mello been chucking lately.
Mello is like 2 for 20 from the arc lately. You know what I'm saying? It's not fair.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I feel like it
but
all depends on
SmackDown
that.
but SmackDown's a bit of a mess, and they're just kind of I think they're just kind of gliding to WrestleMania, and then they'll figure more things out after.
Yeah, or at least yeah, because like once, depending on what they do, obviously a lot of things are gonna get revamped, and I feel like a lot of guys are probably gonna get.
Mello needs to be moved. I want that. I've kind of made up my mind on that one. I want Mello moved.
I
If
think
you're
on
gonna
Raw,
get Aleister Black,
I
if you're
think
gonna get Ray
I think on
Phoenix,
Raw he gets lost more though.
does he?
I mean, like if I'm looking at the IC title picture, right?
If Braun loses the IC title and moves up towards the main card, and Bronson Reed's going to be back, and he's probably going to be up towards the main card, the Intercontinental title division needs more people. Well, if Penta's going to be in that, if he's not the champion, Sheamus is going to be in that if he's not the champion. Why wouldn't Mello work there? Especially if somebody gets shifted, because obviously you're talking about the draft. People could be moved. You move Mello to Raw, you put Mello in the Intercontinental title division. I don't have a problem with that, especially when with SmackDown in 2 months going back to 2 hours. Why not?
But at that point, I mean,
I think
I feel like I feel like at least in the IC title thing, I don't know. I feel like in a way, Melo still kind of is like fifth rung.
I mean, but I think he's. I still think in the end he's probably better off because Raw's a more put together show. And I think if he's in an
Ah,
Intercontinental title mix, I think he's going to show better, and he might actually win it at some point. I think it seems less likely he's getting anything on SmackDown than if he was in that
I'm,
division on Raw.
but also the thing is like, 'cause I feel like with Raw, it's like, especially after like the whole thing with Bait, Raw is actually pretty stacked. A lot of those guys are just hurt. So it's one of them things where it's like at one point Ilya Dragunov was supposed to win the IC title. He's not back yet. Bronson probably is gonna have to work his way back up. He probably fits in there too before they throw him back to like a Braun Breaker or whatever. You got Dragon Lee, who I feel like inevitably they need to just push him towards the IC title. You got Penta, Kaiser. If they once they really get everybody back, that IC scene is just as stacked. And
But
it's like,
but how do we know that none of these people are going to be moved to SmackDown?
I
We
mean,
don't.
but the thing is, like Kaiser, I feel like Kaiser's gonna stay on Raw because I mean, splitting him from Gunther, even though they haven't been around each other, I don't know if Kaiser lasts. I mean, granted, I get he's with Tiffany, but it's like, does Kaiser really fit on SmackDown?
He could. Because how do you know that maybe WrestleMania ends with, in theory, Sheamus is the Intercontinental Champion, and then all this build to with Penta, and then his brother on SmackDown. That depending on when they do the draft, I don't know when they're going to do it. It could be shortly after WrestleMania. It may not be quite as quick after that, but all this build could be to move Penta to be with his brother.
Uh,
They could. You don't know. They could.
no,
It's
but yeah,
entirely possible.
yeah, yeah. But at that point, they would go to like more of what you said earlier, as far as like if they're gonna like, they had Penta on their roster for multiple for at least like the better half of this year. They've been getting them over and everything. At that point, like like I said, obviously, like their initial plan was for them to be a tag team. But if anything, it would probably be Phoenix to Raw. But at that point, you've been advertising him on SmackDown.
Kaiser's gonna go. Kaiser's gonna go to SmackDown. They like to keep couples together. I think they'll probably move them.
But I mean, they're not really married though. So I mean, is that really, do they get that same leeway?
Well, I mean, but they've been together quite a while, and I think they're heading that way at least.
I don't understand that rule.
It's a new thing where they, for travel reasons and whatnot, because new company, better image. They don't really if they can do the best they can in terms of like wrestlers being in relationships with each other or getting married or whatever it is, it would probably if the company helps them to at least hopefully stay together long term, or at least stay together longer and not break up, then this rule of trying to keep couples on the same brand so that they can travel together and be together more, it does make sense with this new image and new company and all of that. It does, because they're supporting couples who are together, so they aren't on separate brands and they aren't traveling away from each other and whatnot, and in theory harming their relationship. If they're on the same brand, they can travel together and be together, and it helps. What Kaiser does on SmackDown, I don't know for sure.
That's what I'm saying. At that point, it's like, that's what I'm saying. At that point, like if we throw him over, like it's like aside of the ruling, right? If he's on SmackDown, he's not like at that point. I don't think like depending on who the U.S. champion is, he's not beating Jacob. Like he's not beating. He's probably not having a good match with Braun. He's probably not having a good match with Knight. At least if I had to decide. And if Fatu's getting the belt, that's a lot of ass whoopings that they got a book for the next couple of months.
Do they put him in a team? Maybe.
I mean, the one guy that he had chemistry with is gone.
They could.
I mean, who messes with European elegance?
I mean, I don't off the top of my head, I don't know, but they're a call up, or I don't know. I mean, what if they put him with what if they give Pretty Deadly a gimmick change and they put them with him?
It's an idea,
but it's terrible. I mean, because chances are when they have the draft, all the teams that SmackDown has, they're not all going to be there. Somebody's moving.
I mean, if anything, I feel like the only thing that probably would, if anything, if I had to guess, A-Town Down Under is probably the only team that I could think that they would want to because like all the other ones have been involved in SmackDown title pictures, except them, because I completely forgot they even, or I guess they like got moved in the swap or whatever. So that was like the only team that I could think of that would have moved because they weren't doing anything with the belts anyway. But it's kind of like hard to look at like, at least right now, it's hard to look at them restructuring the roster and then being like, okay, moving him over there with everything you got going on would make sense.
I'm sure when they do it, there's going to be things that don't make sense.
I
But
don't,
they
I
can
don't, I
make it.
don't, I
But
don't
they
like
could.
that, but not like that. I mean, as far as like the women are like the only ones they can actually like do anything with because all the women's stories are culminating at Mania. Like the male side, it's like okay, maybe Trick Williams, but a lot of people don't think he's ready. Oba, if they want to jump the gun, but Oba is being built the same way as Jacob, like a Gunther, like a Roman. How do you make that work? It's like a lot of guys gotta like not retire, but a lot of things gotta change before they throw guys in. At least from the male side. The male side is like a cluster.
Especially in the mid card, yeah.
Yeah, because like, I feel
But
like the only scene that is gonna be open is the IC title. Because once Braun's gone, I mean, you can do whatever you want. On the US side, once you give it to Jacob, who's beating him? Or who are you building to beat him?
well, I think you're inevitably gonna end up with Jacob and Roman, but obviously Roman's not fighting Jacob for the U.S. title, so it would probably be like a Money in the Bank or a TLC or something like that, where Jacob can lose the title without being pinned.
Oh, it's like a ladder match of sorts.
Yeah, maybe like we don't know if the bloodline thing is gonna kick back up because we mentioned, you know, uh, Zilla and Hikuleo. What if that picks back up and Jacob screws Roman? So Roman screws Jacob to lose his title, even though he's not pinned, but he screws him to lose it, and then there's your setup for that.
Yeah, could be possible.
He didn't have to be pinned to lose it. He could just lose it
Yeah, just
in a
be in the
multi-person
match.
match where he's not, yeah, where he's not beaten, and then he goes nuts.
Yeah,
Could be.
yeah.
The mid card scene is screwy in general, and there definitely needs to be tweaks. And we also know that you know usually once they do the draft and all that, switch people over. We know SmackDown's going back to 2 hours in 2 months. There's gonna be some cuts too. So there very well could be a couple people that we've mentioned in the last 20, 30 minutes or so that aren't even going to be around in 2 months. So
I mean,
booking them won't.
yeah. The thing with
Possible.
I mean, the thing with that though is that like at least like the guys we were just talking about, like the Ilias, the Tricks, the Obas. That's
Well, I don't think. Yeah.
yeah. So
For,
like I said, like those are their future guys, and I don't think they cut Mello anytime soon either. It's like if they cut somebody, it would probably just be some random like some NXT never showed up on TV cuts. Or I mean, they cut Cedric, but that was kind of just yeah, it was an
he's
NXT
a
cut.
vet, but
Yeah, it was a vet. I mean, they already did like they decluttered the women's division because I think it was like Isla and Indy. So
I mean, do well for as good as Ilya is, and though he's been injured and whatnot, can we really say he's future?
I mean if they drop Ilya, he's going to AEW and he's leading the new decade. If they really want to drop him and we get Ilya and Kenny or Ilya and Takeshita, hey,
Well, I mean, that's all AEW does is put on matches with no story. So he can go to AEW, make a lot of money, and just have matches with people and no story.
there's a ton of stories over there for him.
Yeah, but they don't tell him.
They tell nah, that's crazy.
Their storytelling is pathetic. Like I could fart a better story than Tony Khan's been writing. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry, AEW
they,
fans.
they have.
AEW's
I feel like they have good stories.
AEW's. There are some a couple of spots where they're trying to tell decent story, but like overall, AW's writing is shit. Sorry, AW fans, come shit on me. I don't care, but like the booking sucks. You wonder why you've lost 40% of your audience, and you're almost to the point where you're playing high school gyms instead of full arenas. Tell some fucking stories, people.
But I mean, also, I mean, I mean, with that, it's kind of like a 50-50 because it's like WWE tells stories, and most of their stories are kind of hit or miss too. And then on top of that, it's
Yeah, but
like, then on top of that, it's like if the story's mid, and then the match is mid, then it's like, okay, now I'm pissed on two levels.
like, I mean,
I think like I feel like in a respectful way, at least AEW, I know that okay, maybe the story ain't fully there, but this match finna bang. It's
well,
kind
that's
of.
what they got. That's definitely what they got going for them in front of 3,000 people if they're lucky. Is the match is hit, but there's not much behind them, other than you just know the match is going to be good.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like at least from what I've seen at least a couple times, they have stories. It's just stories that like are from different companies that most people have not. Like it's like PWG stories, New Japan stories. But what's the other company? Defy, right? Like basically a bunch of other companies that most people probably have not watched at nauseum. And it's like, oh, like if they see Swerve and Darby, and it's like, oh, they have a blood feud from Defy, and then it's like, oh, well, I've never seen Defy, so there's no, it ain't lining up. It's like,
Context.
yeah, like
There's
at
no
that point,
context.
yeah, it's hard, but at the same time, I mean, WWE has tried to kind of steal that same thing, at least with.
It's just a different animal. It's a different animal. I'm not saying they
I
won't
mean,
get better or
yeah.
improve, or there's not some bright spots, but you can't just have like one halfway decent written story, some thrown together stuff, and then it's like, but our matches are good, because then you're just an indie fed with a TV deal, and it's not. That's not what you're supposed to be. Like,
Essentially, they have kind of put that as like Tony's calling card as far as we're putting on like the thing we're doing is we're putting on matches, which is kind of what TNA did back in the day. Well, even now to an extent, like they try to do stories, but I mean, respectfully, TNA stories ain't knocking nobody's socks
and
off either.
and TNA has been around how long? And what's the largest crowd they've ever had? 5,000 people ever,
Oh, they've had way more than
and
five
even
k.
that, their biggest
TNA,
crowd ever.
yeah,
Yeah.
TNA in their prime has probably at least had at least shoot at most 10 to 20.
Oh, please find me this information, and I will
When
backtrack.
when Kurt Angle was there, they were making bread. Like at one point they had Angle, Sting, Styles, Joe. Yeah, they had a hella. Let me see.
I know they were doing some touring and they did some pay per views in certain locations, but there is no way they ever had 20K. Absolutely not.
No,
No way
no,
they ever had
no,
20.
yeah, no. I wasn't locking it at 20. I would say like 10 to 20. I was like three off. Their biggest crowd
Because
was
even
7,200, and that was
considering how
in
long they've been
2013.
around, that's not great. And even with the partnership with WWE, are they still running that over that Universal, or are they
That's
running
what.
somewhere else? Because
No,
what are their crowds now? Like 1,000
no, I'm saying,
for
no,
their
I'm saying,
TV
no, I'm saying,
tapings?
no, I'm saying the thing with them is that like the reason that TNA crowds aren't that big are it's basically due to their own like planning because like I said they run that small venue in Orlando. They tape everything, so there's nothing live. They only had one live show within the last 5 years, which was I think like 2 weeks ago. So at that point, it's like TNA's fault as to why they probably don't amass. Like if they traveled and stuff, then they'd probably have way more.
And they probably don't have the money to tour, but
Oh yeah,
much
of course,
if at
yeah.
all. But
Oh, of course, yeah. But it's like at that point, like it's one of those things where they definitely kind of shot themselves in the foot, or at least like on the surface, it seems like it. But I mean, I don't know.
yeah, that was a hell of a tangent.
Yeah, we kind of sidetracked. But I mean, hey, I mean, this is foreshadowing the future, or at least I don't know. Could be. I don't know. Uh oh, just
Main
very
event.
Yeah, very vague. Oh, hold on, very vaguely for that. Lyra and Bailey are fighting for the IC title next week. Just kind of gloss, just throwing that in there. Might be good, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, had a nice little story to it. You know, she beat her. She didn't like it. 1-on-1, I guess.
Uh,
Yeah, but
yeah, maybe.
but like I usually say, it's time for the meat of the show.
Pause.
There's women in the main event.
Definitely pause.
Wow. We pausing Booker T.
No, we're not. We're not. No, we're not pausing Booker T. We're pausing the way you said that.
Hey, no bread, no water.
All right. All right. All right. Let's.
All right, all right. All right, Rhea Ripley, Neo Sky Women's World Championship with Bianca Belair as a guest referee. This match was way better
Sloppy.
than the first one.
No, it wasn't.
Wait, you said sloppy?
Yep.
Like outside of one spot, I thought they did fine.
I don't think it flowed as well as the last one. It didn't. I like they did the reversal thing, and there was a little bit more of like hard hitting, but I don't think it flowed as well as the last one. No.
I mean, I don't like the.
I expected it. I expected it not to be long because Bianca's a referee, and I figured there was going to be a fuck finish to lead into what we're
Obviously.
inevitably getting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously there wasn't gonna be a winner. Like I feel like most people just know that they're like I said in this case, like you're dragging out something that most people are gonna know is probably your plan to try to like throw people
Mm-hmm.
off. Like maybe we get a triple threat, maybe we don't. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you could do it. I mean, you have the right to write it down, but do we have to buy it? Not really. But I mean,
No, it's just
yeah. But I
setting up
mean,
the inevitable. It was all right. It was all right.
yeah.
Crowd was into it.
Yeah. I mean, like outside of the I think it was supposed to be it was supposed to be a Spike Rana, but I think Io's foot got caught. Outside of that, I mean, I feel like
There
they
was
were
a
out.
drop kick. There was a drop kick that basically didn't hit, and Rhea flew back and I think out of the ring to
Are you talking
sell
about
it.
the one?
Was what I
Are
noticed.
you talking about the one where she hit the rope and then kind of like they did the clothesline spot?
Yeah, Io basically missed,
Yeah, but I mean, like,
or
yeah,
like a toe touched, and Rhea just sold it because it was off. Like I said, it just didn't flow. I don't think it flowed as good as the last one, but I wasn't expecting like a 20-minute banger because Bianca was the referee, and I expected a screwy finish to set up what's inevitably a triple threat match.
yeah.
But
Yeah, but
some of
obviously,
it was
yeah, but even though it wasn't 20 minutes, for what they had, because I feel like the last one they had, or the last 1v1 match they had, it was just them filling each other out, which kind of wasn't really that enjoyable. As far as like they hadn't had a match in a while, and I feel like this one they tried to up the pace, like they just had more spots in it, like the headbutt midair,
they did
the
they did.
the avalanche. I think it was gonna be a Samoan drop, but it turned into like an avalanche crucifix. That was good. Um, I forgot. Oh yeah, Rhea did a razor's edge into the knee.
She did right. Yeah.
Or I forgot what Priest calls it, but probably what she was thinking of. I think I forgot what he calls it. Ah, skip it. Ego's Edge. I can't think of the other one. Shout out Ethan Page. Yeah, like they had I feel like they had a lot more spots going on in this one, and obviously Bianca kind of getting hit 3 or 4 times,
by
and then being like,
by one and the other, and then yeah, she called it.
Yeah. But if anything, I feel like they probably, if they wanted to like really sell home the whole Bianca doesn't want Rhea in the match type of thing, Ripley hit her like 3 times. So if she really wanted to just like I think Rhea kicked her. Actually, I think it might be like, yeah, Rhea kicked her. She kind of mushed her a little bit at some point.
Get a mushed her and like
kind of pushed her down a little bit. Or she struck her. Yeah, she struck her. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like at that point, like if we really wanted to just have like a DQ finish, you could have just been like, oh, Ripley gets DQ because she literally punched Bianca in the face, and then okay, Pierce is like, oh well, I mean, you did kind of get overzealous there, and you abused your power, triple threat. It would have been bad still, but I mean, a double DQ and all you got was a drop kick from EO. I don't really see that as like credible.
I think that was like it put her over the edge. Like neither one of them respected her, so they both just like got a shot in on her, and she's like, "All right, I'm done."
Yeah. Cause like even like on commentary they said like okay one was clearly an accident like one was probably way more accidental. Well, like the boot was an accident. We can probably say that. Rhea punched her in the face was not an accident, and then the dropkick was an accident. So I mean I don't know.
Yeah, it could have just been like a play it
Yeah,
off like a
yeah,
culmination of like
yeah,
just
build up.
too many, too many things, and she just called it.
Yeah.
And then Rhea tore them both up.
Yeah, but yeah,
So
but they pretty much Ripley Sandoval again. I feel like we know what we're getting. I just wish they. No, this is one where they need to get to the point. Because I feel like we all know it's going to be a triple threat. And as much as I did like the match, the idea of how they're like stringing it along is not really ideal.
I yeah, we all know that's what it's going to be. Just call it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
just
and, then,
call
and,
it.
then, and then plus the strongest woman in the match isn't even going into Mania with the championship.
Well,
Essentially.
I think that's debatable. What do you mean by strongest? Strongest booked or actually strongest?
No, like strong. Like as far as like if somebody's watching weekly, and if I'm going off of like how they're being shown on a week to week basis,
Oh yeah,
who
that's
like
yes, yes,
yeah exactly
yeah.
like to that extent, it's like more or less the person who's literally not even in the match has no at least right now has no say in the match, has no involvement in the match. Wrote her name on the contract where there was no spot for her name. She's looked the strongest in what three different occasions, and one of them was in the same night.
No, well,
Yeah, because it was like I think like the contract signing, she stacked them up. Then they went backstage, and she was the last one standing there too.
oh. Well, I mean, if this is you know if this is being done on purpose, where Rhea's just busting them up to get into the match, and Rhea, it just looks like well, Rhea's getting the title back, but she doesn't. Then it'll make sense.
Yeah, but shoot, no,
I know it's not the greatest, but at least there's
yeah.
logic to it.
Oh
If
yeah,
she's
not that,
looking
but yeah.
the most dominant, but going into WrestleMania, and she gets into the match, and it's like, well, a lot of it makes a lot of people like, well, Rhea's getting the title back again, but then she doesn't.
Oh yeah, I mean like I'm like as far as like how they're building her, like granted they could have. I mean they can. I mean like obviously at that point they can do what they kind of want. I just feel like if anything, EO should probably look a little bit better because I mean obviously we know what Bianca is, we know what Rhea is. We haven't really seen a dominant EO singles run where she's like just looked like NXT like NXT EO, even though she was by herself. Granted, she was like an outcast when she had the title in NXT, or at least like the second time I think she won it. We haven't really seen that yet, so I feel like maybe from that perspective, I'm like, okay, the damage control run, she was getting help when she didn't want it, and then eventually it blew off and Bayley ended up beating her. This case, she won with assistance, and now it's just kind of like, okay, well, she's in here with two juggernauts. But you know she's good, but she's in here with two juggernauts.
When and she could still come out of this winning, but do you really think she's going to get a dominant run?
She deserves one.
I'm not arguing that, but realistically,
I mean, as far as like, I mean, to be honest about this, if I had to think about Rhea has been not bad. I'm not gonna say overbooked because I even seen something where they said like somebody asked like, "Oh, was she overrated or anything like that?" I don't think it's like a situation of I'm tired of Rhea. It's more or less like I feel like she needs a change of scenery very, very bad. Like she's been on Raw forever. and it's kind of like I guess the people she's feuding with might be what's kind of boring me. So if that's
Fair.
the so if like if that's the case, like it's her and Tiffany, I take that. Her and Chelsea, even though it might be mad goofy, I'd take that. Her and Piper, I'd take that too. Uh, Shoot, I think Candice LeRae is on SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like her and Candice. If they ever put some respect on Candice's name, I'll take that too. It's like I feel like there's just so many more things SmackDown wise, or just like I don't think she's had like a full on like experience on SmackDown outside of when she held the title for like a glimmer of a second when she beat Charlotte, and then it was like, okay, well, bet we're gonna just swap the titles and put them on Raw because that's where you primarily are.
Mm. Yeah. But mm,
Plus,
but
I could. Mhm.
having her there more mid card though, is that really the best way to go?
Oh, it doesn't have to be mid card. I mean, when she had the title the first time, she fought like Zelina. Zelina wasn't mad. Zelina wasn't like that over, but I mean, Zelina got a match. If she wins over on SmackDown, it's just like she just has a broader spectrum of competitors mid or above that she can just have a new interaction with. Like I don't mean like go put her over there and make her fight for the U.S. title with Michin, but like I mean if she wins the title, she brought fire. Like the whole story was like, oh, she lit a fire under Zelina, and for the next couple of months, people was like, oh yeah, Zelina could compete for something, and however long that lasts for them is up to booking and whatnot. But
Mm. Yeah.
I feel like it would open the door to different things, or unless like Roxanne and like a new regime of people come to Raw, I don't really see. I don't really have much interest in like the Rhea regaining the championship for another dominant 6 month reign type of thing.
I don't think she's going to.
Yeah,
I don't think she's going to. I think Bianca. I think Bianca's going unless Bianca is going heel with Naomi in this Jade thing. It's possible, but if that's not the route they're going, I think Bianca is going to win it. Now
but that yeah.
Bianca and Rhea for a little bit, and then you get a Roxanne call up. Maybe you switch. You do a little draft switcheroo.
But
Becky's coming back at some point. I don't know when, but Becky's coming back at some point. Then it looks better.
but I mean at that point, like outside of Roxanne, what would be new for her or for most of them?
Well,
Because like
I just
because
said
like
there could
I mean like
you
I
could
guess
do a
yeah I get it. It's like at that point like we've
you could
seen
do
Becky with half of them.
you could do you could do a switcheroo. You could move Becky to SmackDown. You could move somebody over, or you could move a couple people over, and you could do a Roxanne call up and take your pick of the three heavy hitters in NXT now, besides Roxanne. Have one of them come up, put two on Raw and two on SmackDown. Move Becky to SmackDown. There you go. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
You could put like Jordan and Julia, and maybe Julia starts out with the IC title. Build that up. Build her up. Jordan could be in the main event scene. You could switcheroo and then put Stephanie on SmackDown. Maybe move Becky to SmackDown. Things are a little different because then you got Roxanne and Julia on Raw with Bianca and Io and Rhea,
Wait,
unless
so Raw gets
somebody gets
three?
rooms. Huh?
Wait, so Raw gets three?
No, Raw gets. Well, I mean, you could, but if you're moving, I'm saying like you could move Becky and maybe somebody else to SmackDown, and then SmackDown gets like Stephanie.
So Becky
And
would be like
right
the
to
exchange thing.
freshen it up because it would be moving whoever. Like you could move Io, maybe even move Io and Becky to SmackDown. It feels fresh again, especially if Tiffany's the champ, because then you got all new feuds.
Yeah.
Plus, you could bring Stephanie up, and like I said, Stephanie and Julia could beef up the main event or the mid card. All new feuds. Becky and Charlotte would be fresh, feel fresh again. Becky and Tiffany could be good. Io and anybody could be good. Plus, you have Stephanie, and then
I think I just thought of
Jordan,
something.
Jordan, Julia, and Roxanne. I mean, total that the Raw main event women's side gets total makeover, and they're all good. And you got a bunch of feuds that you could see, title or not, that would be good.
Yeah. I kind of just thought of something. If anything, I guess like you remember like in 2016, I think when they said like, oh, SmackDown had like it's like SmackDown's roster didn't seem as like spectacular, but as far as like the quality of like the match that they had, like it was like random week to week basis. They were just putting on classics. Like it would be like I think it was like Ziggler, it was like Ziggler, Styles, and Corbin on one of them like weekly shows, and it was like a banger. I feel like if anything, plus I feel like Netflix is gonna try to do this anyway, so I'm kind of just.
But then again, if you move, but then again, a Becky move to SmackDown isn't likely unless they're moving Seth.
Which could be
Which they
possible
could.
if
They
I mean
could.
if he's going after Roman post Mania, then that would make the most sense. Unless Netflix wants Roman, which I think they do. Which also makes this
I
hard
don't know
because
though.
like
I don't
that,
know though because
yeah,
everybody wants a piece of Roman. And he's got a ton of feuds he can do. That's more SmackDown than anything.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like as far as like from a fan perspective, it's like okay, well SmackDown he's not done yet. The Bloodline's over there. But from a money perspective, Netflix wants all the big names they can get.
Well, yeah, they
Which
wanted. I mean, initially they wanted Cody and Roman, but
now they
you've
have
gotten.
neither.
Well, yeah, but but you've had sporadic Cody and Roman, so at least they're placating Netflix a little bit by having them appear.
Yeah, but also always around like that Mania mode. I mean, like, why was
And
like feel
and
like.
right
Mhm.
and right now with the way the stories are going and who wants a piece of Cody and possibly Cena and with Punk and Seth and everybody seems to want a piece of Roman. Like realistically, storyline wise, you can't move either one of them
Yeah.
at this point. You can't because unless you're just going to complete practically flip flop the main event scene on both shows, what's the point? I mean, you could flip flop a lot of them, but then SmackDown's dead in the water. Although not
I would say,
completely, but it's
yeah, but
like
I would say dead in the water because then it would give them an opportunity to actually, put their pen to use and actually use the talent that
But
they
what do you do with the? But then what do you do with like the bloodline and stuff? That's not
shoot.
over. You
Shoot,
know
give
that's
them,
not over.
yeah, shoot, give them the Raw.
And then
I'm saying realistically, if Netflix wants TV, give them Roman and the Bloodline. People will watch Netflix because at that point, Jay, Jimmy, put them like that. That could work as long
okay,
as
then what goes? What? All right, what goes to What goes to SmackDown then?
Mm, I feel like SmackDown's getting. I
Because
mean,
if Punk's still Raw and Seth is still Raw, so you can have all those feuds. Even though Drew wants a piece of everybody, Drew stuck is on SmackDown.
yeah,
Cody's on
yeah.
SmackDown.
I was gonna say, if
But then
anything, those
who do
guys
you
get
move?
moved. I was gonna say at that point, if they get the Bloodline in them, I feel like Seth at most gets moved. I think Punk technically is a free agent, so technically Punk could be anywhere.
I don't think Punk is a free agent. I just think
I mean, really,
Punk is just they're just
I get it. I mean, I get
they're
he
giving.
signed the Raw contract, but I mean, even before Mania season, they were just advertising him for SmackDowns and stuff.
Well, could you do because Cody's still SmackDown,
Right.
so Cena if Cena's the champion, he's SmackDown until he loses it. Although it's
Hypothetically,
John
yeah.
Cena, he could. I mean, it's John Cena. He could do whatever the hell he wants. So,
Right.
um, would it be? I mean, if you move Roman and the Bloodline to Raw so that Netflix is happy, but you keep Cody and you keep Randy and all that, Do you move maybe theoretically? Do you move like Gunther, Braun, possibly if Jay doesn't have the title at that particular point? Do you move all them to SmackDown with
I can,
Drew and Cody and Randy and?
yeah. To be honest, I feel like I could see like if anything, I feel like at some point one of the shows has to have like a actual pulse on the future, because I feel like at least in the month leading up to like this WrestleMania, it made me realize that a lot of the time people say like, oh, these guys aren't over, or like certain people aren't over. It's mainly because if anything, they're just never shown. Like people were just not realizing that Dragon Lee was like exceptional in the ring, and it wasn't even due to like, oh, like maybe he was injured and I just like missed him on my TV. It was like he was just never on it. So at that point, it's like there's guys on the roster, even SmackDown alike, that just aren't getting shown. And I hate to like kind of like run it back, but like that 2016 SmackDown, that put a lot of people on the map. Whether it had been for like a year or like beyond that, it shined a light on people that was like, oh, like this roster kind of bland, but come to find out, they got good
I
stories and
mean,
they got great
I don't
matches.
have I don't have a problem with them going that way, where it's like SmackDown's like the younger, hungrier, up and coming
Like the workhorse brand.
guys type of show. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, but do they do that now?
I mean,
Is
I
that
mean, they I feel like they've done it before, so I feel like it's always something in the back of their mind. Now, if they pull it
they could
off, is a whole different story.
a 2 hour SmackDown where like your main event is an occasionally appearing John Cena, Cody, Randy, Gunther, Braun, Jay. If Jay's not going to be involved much in the bloodline as it goes forward, because we don't know what they're going to do with that. There's Drew. You could Jacob. Well, now Jacob's going to be moved. Maybe if you throw a couple people over there and you to build up the U.S. title division, you throw LA Knight in the mix. I mean, ain't bad.
Yeah, I feel like
It's
at that
different.
point, I feel like at that point, it's something has to be shaken up, or at least with the idea of once Cena's champion, SmackDown's gonna have to have something that makes people watch, because
You
I
could
don't.
move Sammy. You could move Sammy too, so you still have Sammy, KO, and all that. Wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, like they're gonna have to have something that is like, oh, it's Friday. What makes me turn this on? Like they're gonna have to have some element of that where
I mean, if especially after WrestleMania, if Cena's the champion, then realistically, if whether Cody takes time off or not, Cody's
right,
all they got. If Cody takes time off, you got nothing because
yeah,
Cody's got time off. Cena's limited dates. Roman's schedule is what it is, so
you're gonna
you
have to
got
build
nothing.
something. Yeah, which is kind of the
So
only thing that worries
realistically,
me about Cena winning. It's like from a story perspective, it's like okay, yeah, Cena's gonna say fuck wrestling, but then in the back of your mind, it's like, well, damn, we're not gonna see this title for.
well, he's got enough. I think he's got enough. I think he's got enough left where he could probably appear once a month plus a PLE.
Yeah, and at that point, it's like okay,
But
you
if you're gonna
have
feud Cody and
yeah,
if you're gonna
it's like
feud Cody and Randy, who goes after him? Roman's not around much.
yeah,
Well, what do you
yeah,
do?
yeah, or even if Roman is there, it's like if Roman's got his hands full with Seth, there's no title in that.
No,
That's just pure hatred. So at that point, it's
when
like,
he when he
uh,
when he shows up, but
yeah,
I don't even know if you can convince Roman even for the rest of the year to show up twice a month, given his schedule.
could
You're still gonna
depend.
have you're still gonna have dead spots where you're like the head of the card is
Yeah, which I
nothing,
don't
which is why you're having people appear and on
swap
other
brands
shows
all the time. Yeah,
because you're light, not light on
yeah,
star power, just light on showing the fuck up.
pretty much.
No
Like every
offense, I'm
yeah,
not no
yeah,
I'm not a no offense. Roman's earned it. I'm not saying Roman hasn't earned it, but like every once in a while, could you show up 2 weeks in a row?
yeah. Plus, also, I mean, you
I
gotta
mean,
think about it. Like,
he did, He did,
What,
but
last
I
year
mean,
or this
like,
year?
well, I mean, he just did 2 weeks in a row.
Ah, true, yeah. But I mean, it's also like you gotta think about it. Like, I'm not even to like compare the two because I mean that's like a hot topic. But it's like when Triple H was at his most like peak, like I guess you could say like championship wise or gimmick wise, every Raw you saw that man in some capacity.
Yeah,
It's like what no matter whether you got a title or not, it was like you knew you were getting that 10 to 20 minute Triple H promo to start the night, and you hated it. But at the same time, looking back on it, at least you could say he was there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Mhm.
That's another video idea. Besides the whole that, why don't we do that?
What
The
like
du- the w the draft. Let's let's do our
mm,
let's do like a book the draft.
that's not a bad idea.
It is not. I mean, if we're just kind of riffing on it, why not? Why not?
Yeah, and then it could be like a foreshadower to be like, okay, like well, when the draft rolls around,
Yeah,
let's see who actually goes where.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm not gonna lie, like just kind of like I think we're kind of like we're knocking on that we're knocking on that door. So that's
Yeah, we are.
yeah. But this has been a very enjoyable one, and I hope the viewers as well enjoy. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they like the. I don't know. I think they like the longer ones. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I mean, I ain't gonna lie. This for the love of the game. For the love of the game. But yeah, we definitely got to start mixing in, or we're gonna start mixing in more just videos on days that at least currently right now don't have like reviews or anything like that. So I mean, that's basically just what Tuesday through Thursday, essentially.
And the weekend
Oh yeah,
when
like
there's no
Saturday.
PLE.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so like we're gonna try to mix in more stuff on those down times. I mean, obviously we have like the short form, but if there's other
Mhm.
things that pop up, whether it be other companies or WWE,
Random
brain.
things, news,
Yeah, we
breaking
can.
news.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can brainstorm some stuff,
We'll
figure some stuff out.
we'll get it. We'll get into that. I think we'll do the. I think we should do that. We'll do a not necessarily not a draft prediction, but
Like a mock.
how we would do it, how we would want to do it,
Yeah.
how we'd want to do it, and then like we said, we'll do the let's book the night two main event, and then we'll do a video. We'll do a smaller video, obviously not 3 hours.
Right.
I'm not saying it'll be 2 minutes, but not 3 hours. Let's book the night two main event and some after. Let's get a video of that out. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Got a lot of things on the docket that
Yes,
we're gonna put out
we're
for you
grinding.
guys.
We're grinding. Yes,
Grinding, no clips.
because we are doing very well. Thank you to everyone for the views. I'm not sure how that last week review is. It like could be pushing 1,000 views. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
how. Thank
yeah.
you
You
to
guys are nuts.
thank my what if on Randy short video. If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and watch it. I did a what if on Randy Orton and WrestleMania. That's got like about 700 views. I'm not sure how, but thank you to whoever did. The shorts are doing well. Bless you all for listening, and we're almost at 300 subscribers so soon.
Yeah, so I'm about
I
to
mean,
say,
we
subscribe
are
if you haven't already. Like we are at
yes,
277 as of this recording.
we so for about a month in, it shows that our hard work is paying off. It shows that we know what we're talking about.
If we haven't even done Mania
And
yet,
I
guys.
and I'm not tooting our horn, but it shows that we know what we're talking about. It shows that people are starting to see that we know what we're talking about. We're fair. We're not toxic. We give it to you straight. We give it to you funny. At
Tight
least
shit.
PTP gives it to you a little out of pocket sometimes.
Tight
Not so
shit.
much
Tight
me.
shit.
But that people are you're all paying attention, and at least to some degree you're liking what you see. Uh, we can't thank you enough. We are humbled and we are truly blessed by the support we've gotten so far, and it just makes us want to work harder for you and for anybody else who may listen in the future to give you the best content possible, the best channel possible, the, the best wrestling commentary possible for everyone, not just one side or the other, or just for the smartest fans, but for every fan. And we're going to do that for you, and we're going to keep building, we're going to keep growing, and it's because of you that we have the energy and the
The
how do you say it,
drive.
the drive and the hope that we're to succeed that we have now. It's because of you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
My heart is full. My heart is full.
Very much so. Very much so. Very much so. But just to kind of wrap it up once again. Also, I know you guys have liked the short form content, but as far as like the videos and the live stream reviews, such as this one that you are currently listening to right now, like the videos. That it goes a long way as well. As much as you guys watching it and probably sharing it, I'm not sure well, obviously somebody sharing it because we almost got 1,000, so somebody sharing it. But liking the video helps us out a long way with the algorithm and just seeing like more people seeing the channel.
Yep.
Subscribe, just subscribe. You know.
Comment, even if you're
Oh yeah,
even if you crap on us, make a comment, say something. If
yeah.
you
We're probably
disagree,
we're
say
gonna read
so.
it. Yeah, we're gonna read them. We reply them. Almost every comment we've gotten so far on this channel has had either a reply or some type of engagement.
Yes.
We're not gonna mute you or anything like that.
Nope.
This is a safe space.
Yep. You
This is a safe.
disagree with us, by all means, say so. You hate our idea, you hate our booking, you hate something, say so.
Yeah,
Because you know what, haters are listeners too, and
yeah. Hey, I got
you.
even if you wanted to say what's up to Terry in the comment section, you can do that too.
There you go. There you go. I was
I
wondering when
forgot
that was.
last week, but I forget today. What up, dude?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but yeah, we get into that time. We've given the wrap up essentially. As
Yep.
always, we appreciate you guys for listening. Follow us on social media: Twitter at PTP_99, TikTok, YouTube, all that jazz. G.
Gino's Game on TikTok, Going the Real on Twitter, and of course, I'm also here to chop shop with anybody who wants to.
Exactly, down in that comment section. We appreciate you guys for listening. Don't be surprised if you get anything between now and Friday because there's a good chance of that.
Yes,
And
I
yeah,
think so.
yeah, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.